Made a horrible, horrible mistake. My wife is in studio with me and just told me, sit up straighter. Just right before we crack the mic. Sit up straighter, she says. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake I've made. Bring your wife to work day is already backfired in my face.
Good posture is important.
I get it. Holy cow. Hi, good morning, everybody. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. A little bit worse for wear this morning. Long ass day. A little too much to drink. A little too much talking. All of it. I'm frazzled as I could be right now, and then cap it off with just one of the worst opening day performances you could imagine. Really, really cool. Really, really cool way to get things started this season for the San Diego Padres, the Ben and Woods program, and everybody. But I will keep it a little bit positive. Do some intros here this morning. I'm Woodsy. That's my wife, Hannah. Good morning, Hannah.
Morning.
How are you?
Welcome. Good morning.
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks.
Are you? Just sit up a little straighter.
Well, you were slouching and it wasn't a good look.
Fair enough. To Hannah's right is our executive producer, the great Paulie Reindl. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Good. To my left, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, Benjamin Higgins. Good morning, Ben.
Good to see everybody on this Friday morning, this non-panic Friday morning, as I'm going to call it.
Yeah, overreaction.
No
Friday,
panic
as I'm
here.
going to call it.
No panic at all, people. Let's just back off the panicking.
It's a bit of a letdown.
Oh, even Bob Melvin was let down. Yeah, it's a letdown, but it is not indicative of anything. It's not a sign of anything. It's just a game. It's just a baseball game. That's what happens in baseball sometimes.
Very philosophical of you this morning.
I don't know what else we're going to say for 4 hours. I mean, are you going to take massive?
I don't know what to say there. We should go home.
I mean, are you
to the
going?
house.
You can't really read into one game and take big conclusions about the Padres.
It is funny though. We can pick it apart a little bit, and I think we should. But here's the interesting part: when you have certain guys that you have come to know play a certain way, and then you fool yourself into thinking, well, potentially, maybe they've gotten over that hump. And then when that player comes out and plays exactly like you expected him to play because he's given you no other reason to believe he would play any other way, that's what it's kind of a bummer. That's the where you go. That's when you hear the same old. And there was, obviously one that jumped off the page last night. And we can talk about that at great length today, I'm sure. We can ask his skipper about it, Bob Melvin, who will join us at 9:35. Sorry for the management report today. It was a bummer. It was a bummer of a game. It was the weather was so awful all day yesterday, really. And I had to sit there and think as soon as they did the intros and man, your skin's tingling and you're so excited and you're losing your voice screaming for these guys. I tweeted, man, it's one thing to read about these guys, see them in spring training, but when you see them in person at Petco Park, run out on the field, you're like, oh wow, this is really something else. And then to go out and just absolutely soil your pants last night was a bit of a bummer.
Well, you have definitely gotten into the more of the overreaction than I ever expected.
Yeah, no, I'm overreacting.
Already.
No, I am.
I'd like to focus on the positive. What an amazing turnout by fans. What an amazing electric atmosphere all day long from the start of our show at 6 a.m. yesterday until 10 p.m. at the end of the day. I mean, San Diegans, Padres fans represented. They made it look good downtown. They didn't care about the weather. They went down. They partied. They were everywhere throughout the gas lamp. The energy was amazing. It felt almost like the playoffs, in October, rain included, a little drizzly, and it felt like a postseason game in March, which is not something that I think of many communities, maybe no other baseball communities in America are getting right now, is the kind of energy we have in San Diego for our team.
I don't know, man. Did you see the screenshots rolling in of Cincinnati? I've never seen anything like what I saw in Cincinnati yesterday. Did you see that?
I did not see any Cincinnati.
You guys didn't see this?
No.
Oh, my Lord. It looked like Mardi Gras in Cincinnati.
Cool.
But, I mean, look, it's opening day. That's obviously going to pilfer off and filter out over time. But, dude, I was bummed. Look, man, you look forward to it for so long. Mine is also, we planned this kind of staycation, which was a blast. We had an incredible time. But the weather does throw a little bit of a hit into that. So the changing of the start time threw a little bit of a hit into everything. But you make do. You have fun. We did. We had a great time. Thank you to everybody at the Pendry. They were amazing. One of the best hotels I've ever stayed at. Had to drag her kicking and screaming from there this morning. So close to the ballpark. So close to our Happy Does location. And then, of course, the tier ones that showed up yesterday at 6 a.m. Incredible. I didn't sleep the night before. I was so worried that nobody was going to show, and you guys did. So you made the day very special. But no, as far as the baseball goes, I mean, it was a sloppy, kind of underwhelming game.
Yeah, I mean, German Marquez pitched a little bit better than Blake Snell did yesterday. Hit his corners. Padres.
He had 75 pitches in the seventh.
Yeah, I don't think that it was quite as disastrous as you're making it out to be. I mean,
Blake had 75 pitches in the third.
He struck out 9 guys in 4 and a third innings.
I thought Blake pitched.
He didn't walk a bunch of guys.
Better than an average Blake Snell start.
Their contact.
That's not saying a lot, though, right now.
They made some contact, got some base hits, and ended up cashing in on a 3-run home run that went 348 feet. The Padres had some base hits, got a couple of guys on. Matt Carpenter hit one 390 feet. Just happened to stay in the park, whereas C.J. Cron scraped the wall and went on the other side. I mean, that's the difference in the game right there. Those two swings, a 350-foot home run that goes over the wall for a 3-run shot and a 390-foot ball that dies right at the wall. Switch those around, and the Padres win that game yesterday. It was not the disaster that I think you're making it out to be.
If the Rockies bus breaks down and they don't show up, the Padres also win that game yesterday. Then you can't do that in baseball. You can't. You say, well, it's like golf. We're all driving.
If the Padres committed 7 errors and they walked 15 batters.
How many did they walk? And how many errors?
Blake Snell walked 1 or 2.
He walked 1.
1.
I don't know how many total.
And then you put in the back end of your bullpen. If you want to be mad at Bob Melvin, you can talk to him at 9:35.
Not mad at Bob Melvin.
Use some higher end relievers on opening day as opposed to Domingo Tapia.
You're down. You're down.
You don't usually put in your guys. I mean, he managed the way you manage a regular season game, not a playoff game.
Hell yeah, man.
If that was a playoff game, you're not going to Crismat and Tapia.
Only walked 1 batter.
One, that's it.
1
surprises me.
I mean, struck out 9, walked 1. I take that. Yes, you'd like to see him get deeper into the game, but he was never pitching 6-7 innings on opening day anyway.
Excruciating to watch sometimes. Excruciating. Every hit. How many guys did he go 3-2 to? I mean, it was. And granted, hey, good job for not.
That's never going to change. His stuff is too good to get guys out in a pitch or two. I mean, it just is never going to change, and you can accept that. I mean, maybe there's a reason why everyone else has gotten a contract extension on this team, and Blake Snell is going into a free agent year. And it's crickets. It's quite possible that the Padres, for the very reasons that make it a tough watch sometimes, that the Padres don't have Blake Snell in their future plans. Doesn't mean he couldn't help them win a World Series this year, though. He's going to strike out a lot of batters. He had some electric stuff. It was exactly pretty much what I expected from Blake Snell. If you had told me he would leave the game giving up 1 run in 4 1/3 innings and striking out 9 and walking 1, I'd say that's not a horrible opening day start. Now, obviously, the 2 runs scored after he left the game. One of them on an absolute bloop by Charlie Blackmon that was just a lucky little, the last batter that one hurt, to put another guy on.
But it's like you sound like the guy driving home that shot a 94 that said, well, if I didn't 3-putt 6 times and hadn't lost 4 balls, I probably would have shot even par. Like, you're a better team than them. Blake Snell's a better pitcher than German Marquez. We're a better team. Go out and show it. It was sloppy. It was a sloppy game. I was pissed.
But I'm not going to do this all season with you every time the Padres lose.
I was legitimately pissed.
They're going to lose to the Rockies again. They're going to lose to the Diamondbacks. They're not going 13-0 against every divisional opponent. I'm not going to do this all season with you on every game.
Which does not help in the slightest. So I've got a headache. I have no voice left. I'm grumpy. And come on, dude. 17 hits to the Colorado Rockies and their band of no names, pretty much. I mean, hey, Chris Bryant, okay, fine, he's back. Charlie Blackmon is Ty Cobb when he sets foot into Petco Park.
He is a Padre killer.
Why anything would go near the strike zone for Charlie Blackmon is beyond me, but what do I know? Just the fan of the team that's now 0-1.
The problem was that if you don't sign Xander Bogaerts, you had 4 hits last night. That's the problem. That's why you lost the game. It wasn't Blake Snell only going 4 1/3. It wasn't walks.
You struck out 17 and walked 1. If they do that all year,
We're
they
good-
would be
we're
the
in good
best
shape.
team in baseball history every single night. They will probably lose about 5 more times all year long if their pitchers strike out 17 and walk 1 every single night. I'm not going to be too worried about the outcome of game 1 of the
157 and
season.
5. I can get down with that.
So mad.
17 walks, 17 strikeouts, 1 walk by the 4 Padres pitchers, none of whom were their top guys. You know, you didn't have your number 1 guy starting.
Throw it! 3-1, 3-2. I'm just good. Isn't it? It's excruciating. He's got to be the least economical
6
pitcher
hits, 4
I've
singles,
ever
9
seen.
strikeouts, 1 walk. I mean,
How many innings?
4 1/3.
4 1/3.
It's not going to change. Blake Snell is not going to be an 8-inning guy.
I didn't ask him to go 8, did I? Did I say he has to go 8 or 9? Heard Coach yesterday when he was crossing with us. Back in the day, he used to say, "Hey, what's a good starting pitcher?" Well, the guy goes 8, maybe 9. Not anymore. Starting pitcher these days goes 5. How about 5? Is that too much to ask? 5. Give me 5.
You think he goes 5 innings? You think we win that game?
I have no idea. I have no
I
idea.
promise you we don't.
I have no idea. But you got it. You're right. You got to hit. You got to play defense. I know Soto didn't get charged with an error. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it was a wet field. Same thing happened to Dahl and Wright. Both got bad jumps. Neither of them laid out, but it's also a soaking wet field. You probably can't get your footing on. Hassan Kim's error was, that's pretty rare for him. Not a guy you can make mistakes behind, though. He's not. Blake Snell is not a guy you can make a mistake behind.
I would also say that in game 1, I do not want Juan Soto risking a
100%.
major injury
I fully agree.
in the first game of the season,
Laying
out for a ball. I mean,
on a field you
Manny
can't get your
Machado
foot.
has taught us that, sometimes discretion is the best way to get through a baseball season and be the most productive player that you can be. And, that means that occasionally you're playing at 90% instead of 100% to make sure you're still out there. Dealing with an oblique muscle, he's out there on opening day trying to help the team. He went 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Maybe still trying to get back to 100%. Didn't have the full preparation the last week and a half of spring training. Not going to be worried about Juan Soto. We saw what he was doing in spring training. He'll get back to that very quickly. But yeah, that's, Padres needed more hits. Jake went 0 for 3, struck out a couple of times.
Great
David Dahl.
job. Great job.
Enough.
Jake's balls went a combined 9 feet from home plate, I think. Yeah, we missed some big opportunities. I mean, we got some guys on and missed some big opportunities in the game. And yeah, I can't wait for Fernando to come back. And but yeah, that team's good enough. But you do need to credit Xander Bogaerts. Hell of a Padres debut for that young man. Very excited to see how I loved my favorite at bat from him. He hit the 2 doubles and those were beautiful. My favorite one though was the one he hit out to right center that was out or third, and he just bat to ball. The thing that John Smoltz says guys now are incapable of doing. He did it. It was a great AB and ended up getting a knock there too. So love that AB for Xander. Let's right the ship and go out and beat up on crap teams like the Rockies. A lot of other teams. It happened yesterday too, Benny, across baseball. It really did. There were some games that you looked at, and we'll talk about those today too. Some games where, like, the A's beat Shohei Ohtani last night. Didn't really beat him, but the A's
didn't beat him at all.
Didn't beat him at all. Shohei Ohtani was the pitcher, and you won the game at the end of the day. At the end of the game, by the Oakland A's, they beat you. If you're a Halos fan this morning, you're pissed. I think you have a right to be pissed because, like we said, we should beat up on the Rockies. They should beat up on the A's, and we didn't. We got bodied. Getting bodied is the worst part. 17 hits is the worst part. That's the part for me. I'm like, all right, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. All these people waited 17 hours for this game, and you come out and get bodied at home. You lose by 1 on a walk-off or Bob Suarez walking a guy, fine. And I know it's a long season. I'm captain of 1-0. That's my whole mantra. I'm captain of enjoy the ride. Yesterday was a long SE day. Made even longer.
That was not
terrible game.
foreplay at all. That was not what we're about. Can we get into a better mental frame and better space?
That's how I do foreplay these days.
I'm gonna pick the daily ditty, try to get us in a better mood when we come back.
I need some Alka-Seltzer.
I'd like to see a little bit different attitude by the time Bob Melvin comes on at 9:35.
I'll light them up.
We'll also have Eno Saris joining us. It's Craig Elston Crossing Streams Friday. You know what? This is the start of 162. It's not the be all end all. It's the first game of the season. We'll talk some Aztecs. They're going to the Final Four. playing tomorrow against Florida Atlantic. Big sports weekend in San Diego. We got Paul here. We got Hannah here. We got Woods here. I'm Ben. Hey, we're in this together. Your tier ones are awesome. We'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
What a pick, Benny. What a pick. One of the
I
best
love
riffs
songs
ever.
like Kick In like that.
Yes.
I love that sort of, Women Who Rock Month we're going with here. The Bangles, Hazy Shade of Winter, our daily ditty selection on a Friday.
Hazy shade of spring.
It felt like a winter yesterday around Petco Park.
Are we done for a while or?
Monday, rain again, Angelica told me. I don't know how much, but yeah, she said it looks like Monday could be the next storm coming in.
This is it. This is our lives now.
I thought we were done. I thought it was over.
You're not
We
doing
can't even
it.
get through the first homestand without a second
I'm gonna move back to sunny Seattle.
Yeah.
rain
for
storm
cheaper.
coming through.
It's cheap. I'm looking at opening day yesterday of places across the country. New York City was sunny and it looked, I don't know, maybe like 55 degrees, but not a cloud in the sky. I'm looking around yesterday at all these games and I wonder to myself, if this is going to be the new normal, how quickly do you think our beloved Peter Seidler could get a retractable roof on Petco? Quickly, I bet.
It's about like next week.
If anybody
why
can
not?
do it, it would be him. I have the utmost faith in him. But yeah, that's I want to ask Bob Melvin today when we talk to him at 9:35. Just kind of the look, guys. At the end of the day, it is one game. There's 161 of these to go, plus hopefully some playoff games as well. Got to find their footing. It's got to be tough for them too, expecting to play at 110. And then, hey, we're going to push this thing back. And it's preparation, but it didn't hurt the Rockies one bit. But like I mentioned yesterday in the Open, you are now the ones with the target on your back. The Rockies were stoked to come. It meant a lot more. It meant a lot more to beat the Padres yesterday than it is any other time that they've beaten the Padres, except for that, Matt Holliday didn't touch home plate game. But yeah, this is the team that people are going to want to take down. And yesterday, those guys were playing grab ass, having a good time because they put the wood to the Padres yesterday and, shattered the illusion of this brilliant and perfect lineup and nobody can beat us. And I think it's a nice little slap in the face, even though it's only one game. I think it is a little, all right, yeah, we actually have to go out and do this. So yeah, I'm not super mad about it, but
This is why you play all the games.
This is why you play all the games. So that's what I heard from a couple of experts. We'll play that for you and don't do this.
Again, I'm not going to say that the Padres were overconfident. They needed to be humbled a little bit. They weren't walking through spring training like arrogantly, like nobody can beat us. Every time you heard Manny Machado and players talk, it's about putting in the work. It's about every single day coming and doing our best. This is not we're going to go 162-0 mission. They have the right kind of attitude. They know these kind of things are going to happen. They weren't slapped down from some sort of arrogant perch that they needed to be knocked off of their first game of the season. It's just not what I saw yesterday. You saw a baseball game in which when the Rockies made contact, it fell in the right places and they got 17 hits. They also struck out 17 times. It's actually never happened. I think Jesse Aguilar had that stat on Twitter after the game. There's never been a game in baseball history in which a team has struck out 17 times and had 17 hits in the same game. It was an anomaly of a game yesterday on opening day. Tell me that the Rockies strike out 17 times. I will show you a team that loses 100 games. Yeah. If they do that every time, they're not going to be very good. And if you tell me the Padres pitching staff is going to strike out 17 and walk one, I will show you a team that will win 100 games quite easily, actually, over the course of the season.
Yeah, I would imagine. I think, just for me, it was the lack of the offensive punch at all, kind of sloppy defense and really not great pitching at all. So it's fine. It's over. You flush it, you move on, and you got another shot at those guys today.
Yeah, move on to the second game of the season tonight, 6:40 first pitch, 5:40 pregame show with in-season Sammy here on 97.3 The Fan. Nick Martinez, I like Nick getting a start today. Yes, you'd rather have Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish lined up for your first couple of starts of the season. Padres aren't getting to throw their best pitchers to open the season like most teams do. That's a factor here as well, that Padres are going with their number 3 against the Rockies' number 1, who's starting his third opening day for them. They had to go with other guys because of circumstances in spring training.
Yeah, but we were also the ones telling everybody, hey, how great is it to have a former Cy Young winner as your number 3 to go out and absolutely shove against a crap team like the Rockies? We all said that. So we have to wear that. Right?
Again, I don't think Blake
he had a
Snell is
bad
the reason
start.
that the Padres lost that
he
game
went
yesterday.
4 1/3 inning.
If he went 8 innings, if they only have
They only scored
7
2
hits,
runs.
like-
They weren't going to win that game. It's it's the offense they need more of. Not it wasn't Blake Snell's. To
if they
me,
strike,
that,
if the starting pitcher every game this year strikes out 9 and walks 1, I'm happy. It's up to the offense.
he had a
to get
shaky
more
first
than,
couple of innings where he got in some trouble, got himself out of it.
Yep, he
pitched
did.
really well in
There
the third and fourth.
There were a couple runners on second and third when he got the side. That's nasty. That's what
Yeah,
you want.
pitched,
from Blake.
really locked in the third and the fourth, but the pitch count was getting higher. Came back out of the fifth. I was a little surprised actually that he even came back out in the fifth inning because he had already thrown 80 pitches, 83, somewhere around there. And remember, he threw about 20 warm-up tosses during that. Felt like it during the diamond dry area. So between warm-ups, those extra warm-up pitches, and what he had thrown, he was kind of well over 100 tosses at that point in the first game of the season. I was a little surprised that he actually came out, gave up. I don't remember what the first hit was in the fifth. The second one was an absolute broken bat bleeder. Charlie Blackmon that just went over the head of Xander Bogaerts for a bloop single, and then they took him out, and Nabil comes in, and CJ Cron hits one that scrapes the wall on a line drive that goes 348 feet. Now you're down, and the game's it's just a different game. Now you may be pressing a little bit offensively. You feel like, oh no, now we're behind. We just grabbed the lead. We felt confident that we were going to go on, and they answered it quickly and give the Rockies credit. That was a big swing by CJ Cron.
Well, I will say, I watched the entire game up to the last out. Never thought we were out of it. Staged a couple of shots at a rally, and just the ball didn't go our way. Carpenter, like I said, hit a seed. I thought he was going to tie that game. He did too. I think everybody in the ballpark did as well, but caught 5 feet in front of the wall. Welcome to Petco Park in
if you want to take one thing away that I actually was concerned about going into the season that may have been reaffirmed by watching that game, the power that some other players that we have acquired, Matt Carpenter, Xander Bogaerts, won't play at Petco Park the way it played at Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park. And there may be more warning track flies than they're used to. Those numbers may be down, depressed a little bit by playing in San Diego, especially early in the year when we have traditionally seen it be much harder to hit and score runs at Petco Park. That is something that I was probably not voicing into the, I didn't want to speak it into existence during spring training, but you worry about any new acquisition coming to the Padres that their numbers are not going to quite be the same when they have to deal, especially with April and May and the marine layer and, the cooler months at Petco Park, that the ball simply doesn't travel, to deep right. That was a home run at Yankee Stadium. What did you say? 10 rows deep.
10 rows deep.
Matt Carpenter,
no doubt.
3-run shot, different game. Padres are up 5-4. Oh, yeah. 3-run shot. They're up. Okay, now the bullpen situation's completely different. You're getting Luis Garcia. You're getting your better setup man in there to Josh Hader, and maybe you win that game. It's just that's how baseball works. One little thing kind of leads to the next, and it changes the course of the game.
This feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah, talking baseball
feels right.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Bitching and moaning about it. It feels right. This is fantastic.
We got our Padres wrap up coming up next. Even in a loss, it's great to hear Jesse's calls of yesterday's game. So we'll get our first of the season. What was a better day tomorrow? Do we have that back in our open? Or
we have a whole
new open?
Yeah, it's been improved.
All right. Well, you new and improved Padres wrap up open.
Or made worse, right? But by making it worse, we've improved
made it better.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it makes a little bit of sense, at least for tier ones. They understand where we're coming from. That is next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's Hour 97.3 The Fan, brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, home of the world-famous Bob-O-Pedic mattresses with all the comfort and quality of a national mattress brand for half the price. No matter your budget, there's a Bob-O-Pedic memory foam, hybrid or hybrid plus mattress for you. Check them out at mybobs.com.
Would you rather talk about the Aztecs? Because we can definitely talk some San Diego State basketball today.
Let's do it all.
We will. You know what they did yesterday? We'll maybe talk about the matchup in a little bit, but this was very cool. So have you heard of the Final Four gift suite?
The Final Four gift, is it like where you get to go through and get free stuff?
Yeah.
They did a
Players get to go on this like shopping spree when you get to the Final Four.
I know I roomed with a football player for the San Diego State Aztecs in college, and when they went to a bowl game,
yeah.
it's kind of the same thing.
a gift bag.
It's like, it's not even a gift bag. It's like they walk into this like ballroom at the hotel.
It's called the Luxury Lounge.
And he's like, the whatever bowl game it was in 2009, it was sponsored by Jordan Brand. So there was tables full of shoes,
gear,
sweatshirts, sweats, whatever you needed, and you just got to walk in and be like, ooh, I like that.
So
I got my size in that. I'll take
one
that.
of the best Sopranos episodes ever is they go to LA to pitch a movie. Chrissy and I can't remember who else was, but they go to pitch a movie and they see, Ben Kingsley and Lauren Bacall, and they're walking through this luxury lounge and like, hey, how do we get in there? And they're like, oh, sorry, it's it's for celebrities. And Rolexes and all kinds of fancy, like here, take this car for a month. And that's that episode. It was called Luxury Lounge. That is like one of the coolest things they get to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't get the final like statistics on the overall value of what they were able to get, but there was that like Apple Electronics and cool
rad,
like denim jackets, Final Four gear, all kinds of stuff that players get to go and pick. Now, they're making a lot of money for the NCAA.
Oh,
remember
lots
that
and
the
lots.
NCAA makes truckloads of money on this event every year. It's their big money maker. The bowl games, that's not NCAA. Those are their own. The college football playoff, it's its own independent entity. So the NCAA doesn't share in that revenue. Their one big money maker every year is this tournament, with all the television rights fees, everybody watching and filling out their brackets. So it's the least they can do for these players who are making them tons of money, is treat them well when they get to the Final Four. But it is a bit of a perk that I think that not every player realizes that they get when they arrive. Oh, come on into this room. Look, an iPad or some cool gear, whatever you got, shoes, jackets, everything. Take your pick, walk through, grab everything. So a little bit of the luxury lounge of the Final Four yesterday for San Diego State. They also got to practice out on that floor at NRG Stadium, that massive,
cavernous,
the giant video screen that they have at the Texans Stadium.
So cool.
I mean, it looks very impressive. So we'll talk a little bit more about that matchup later in the morning. But we're going to get to our first Padres wrap up of the season with Jesse Agler right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Looking pretty good on our roads at this time. Still seeing a little residual slowing westbound King Freeway toward the 5. There was an earlier crash from that transition ramp and stalled vehicle partially blocking the Pacific Highway off-ramp of northbound 5. Just a reminder, westbound 78 remains closed in the North County between College and El Camino Real for that huge roadwork project. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Oh, God, here we go. Jesus Christ.
It's the Padres wrap-up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
Right-handed hitting Jonathan Daza will step into the box for the Rockies, and we are just about ready to open up this most anticipated season in Padre history. Snell will wind and fire. He deals, and a fastball strike right down the middle of 96. We are underway. Here's the 1-2. Cron hits it hard, and that bounces through the left side for a base hit. Bryant will score easily from third. Blackman advances one station, An RBI single for C.J. Cron, and a 1-0 Rocky lead in the first. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Manny swings, skies one out into center field. Daza trying to find it in the raindrops, coming in towards right center. He'll make the catch. Grisham is tagging. Here comes the throw, not in time. Sack fly Manny Machado, and a 1-1 game in the first. 3-1 pitch, hard hit liner into left center, and a base hit for Bogaerts in his first at bat as a Padre. Gonna roll all the way to the wall. Castro picks it up at the base of the fence, and the second double of the inning is Xander Bogaerts' first hit in a Padre uniform. Snell is set and ready. Blake will deal on 3-2, and a swing and a miss. 96 up in the zone, and 3 straight strikeouts to get himself out of trouble here in inning number 3. No runs, a hit, an error, and 2 men left in scoring position. 1-1 pitch coming. Carpenter grounds one towards first base. Cron charges, has it. Fires down to second wide, and a run going to score as Bogaerts crosses the plate. The shortstop, Tovar, I think wisely came off the bag at second so that throw didn't go into left field. But in doing so, they lost the out at second. They obviously lost any chance at a double play. And Bogaerts comes in to score. And the Padres have their first lead of the night. It's 2-1. C.J. Cron launches one to deep left field. Soto goes back, looks up, and it is gone. A line drive home run just over the left field fence. And C.J. Cron picks up in 23 where he left off in 22. A 3-run shot. And the Rockies hop back in front. It's 42. C.J. Cron, who's driven in 4 of the 5 Rocky runs, leads off, swings at the first pitch, and sends one to deep right. At the wall and gone. A home run. Dahl was up against the fence, and right looked like he might have a play on it, but no. Second homer in as many at-bats for C.J. Cron, and he is now driven in 5 as the Rockies lead it 6-2. 1-1 pitch is hit well in the air to deep left field. Soto going back. He will look up, and this one will go. And Lowry's Montero with a home run. The Rockies go back-to-back in the 7th. Third home run of the night for Colorado, and they now lead 7-2. Pitch to Dahl, swung on, sent in the air, straightaway center field, well struck but playable. Daza, about 5 feet in front of the warning track, is there. He makes the two-handed catch, and the ball game is over. Padres fall on opening day for the second consecutive season. Final score here tonight, the Rockies 7 and the Padres 2.
Home opener, you want to make a great first impression, so it's disappointing. Everybody wanted to win the game tonight. At the end of the day, it is only one, but would have been nice to take the opener. Last year's opener was really good, and we were hoping to follow it up, with the same type of game.
I like Bob Melvin's attitude. He didn't totally dismiss it as
like you did,
as just one of 162, but he also reminded everybody it is just one of 162 games. It was disappointing. Yes, the great script is to thrill a sellout crowd on opening day with a 15-run outburst, and you clobber an inferior Rockies team, and everyone completes a perfect day in San Diego, and it did not work out that way last night for your San Diego Padres.
No.
And Woods is having a little trouble with it.
It really just obviously a win would have been great. It just felt like everything, and not just baseball, everything was against us yesterday. The rain, the time change,
it did.
The rain delay,
the rain coming back in
like
droves
3 or 4 times over the afternoon.
Right when they started playing.
Like, this sucks.
Going 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position didn't help either.
That's
probably the biggest reason why they lost. But
I'm gonna blame the rain. Blame it on the Henry. No, it sucked.
Blame it on the Henry.
It really sucked. I can't sit here and tell you that it was like it didn't suck. It sucked. I'm not gonna tell you it didn't. I'm not gonna tell. I mean, thanks to our pal Corey Stewart, who made gasoline punch mixed with bath salts that we had out at the tailgate. He's got me feeling shots of Screwball and Coors Lights and God,
I saw you starting before we even left Happy Does.
Shot of Jack Daniels at Happy Does
yesterday, so you were in for a long day regardless.
I'm like, I've got the DTs right now a little bit, the delirium tremors where you just kind of shake because you had too much booze, and so I'm in a pissy mood. And then had they won though, I would have been like, hey, I'm hungover and celebratory. That's fun me, but now I'm pissy because that's we made a whole weekend. At least we have a new tradition now. Me and Hannah, we're going to do that every year, go down and stay. And it was really, really fun to see everybody. So fun running into all the tier ones at the ballpark and saying hello. And then the game starts and you're so excited. You've been waiting so long. and then it just boop. And I'm a guy too. Like, if you know my personality, I build it up in my head to where almost everything's a disappointment. Honestly, like I build it up so much, and I built it up so much over the last 6 months that I was so excited to just start bodying people and go like 28-2 in a month that when they came out and looked pretty uninspired and inept, offensively, certainly, and defensively, they looked inept. And I went, this is not what I built up in my head. And I was immediately let down.
I mean, do you think this is going to be a good or a bad defensive team this year? I think it should be a good defensive team. Yes, Hassan Kim committed an error.
I'd say about 6 weeks ago. I can't remember who we were talking to, but I want to say it was our first time catching up with Jesse Agler right around spring training. And I told him at the time, sure, every team's going to worry about starting pitching. Every team's going to worry about their bullpen. I said, I think it was AJ Casabell. I said, my only kind of issue with this team, I think, is defensively. And I said, and the reason for that is not that they don't have talented players. They do. We've seen Crony play some first before, but he's not a full-time first baseman. We've seen Hassan Kim play some second base, but he's not a full-time second baseman. Xander Bogaerts was, up until maybe last year, the year before, one of the worst defensive shortstops in the game of baseball. He's worked extremely hard to get back. Manny is Manny. He's going to be fine. Juan Soto is moving from right, where he was very bad, to left, which is okay. It's maybe a little easier, still tough, as we noticed last night. Trent Grisham, don't worry about a bit. Fernando Tatis is a question mark in right field. Does he have every raw skill available? Absolutely, he does. Thought Austin Nola called a pretty good game last night. When your pitchers are up there throwing 48-foot sliders and you got to wear them in the chest, he blocked a couple. There was a wild pitch that got by. That wasn't on him. He made a great, valiant effort at it. So I would say defense has been my concern for the last at least 6 weeks or so. There's not question marks per se, but a lot of seemingly guys playing out of position and learning new positions. Ish.
I think it's fair to say
they didn't take Grisham and say, "Hey, you now play first base." There's nothing like that.
But I would expect that the defense only continues to get better as the season goes on as well.
Absolutely.
Stunned that Juan Soto's not so comfortable that maybe he either misreads or doesn't go after a ball that you might want him to early in the season. That could look very different by the time August or September rolls around, as everyone's been there. I know that Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to make some mistakes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also know that by September, I bet he's pretty much a Gold Glove right fielder at the end of the season.
Totally get behind that.
But he'll make some mistakes early in the year for sure. So yeah, in that sense, I think you're fair in having some concern. But if you know what you're expecting and getting into, I don't think it's a reason for long-term concern. It's a short-term, get comfortable defensively issue. And then once they do, I don't foresee that being like a playoff problem for the Padres.
Well, and we talked yesterday about the lineups, and hey, people are going to say, well, why don't they keep a consistent lineup? I will say this, man, defensively, I think it is more important than offensively these days to keep a solid, like these are our 9 that we roll with. And of course, if somebody needs a day, great. Manny needs a day off his feet. Super. Matt Carpenter, you're going to play third. Crony needs a day off his feet. Great. You can DH Matt Carpenter, Nelly Cruz, whatever you're going to play first. Not Nelly Cruz, more than likely, but Matt Carpenter. Fine. No issues there. I just think so many guys right now not playing out of position, but playing somewhere they're not super comfortable, and it will take some time to get comfortable. But yeah, I mean, it's not like an overarching, like, oh my God, I don't think we're the Phillies or anything of last year who couldn't play defense at all until the last week of the season. They were atrocious. So I don't think we're in that camp, because we still have really good defensive players. And that the Hassan Kim, when he's booted it happens.
Yeah.
Happens
I mean, it's wet, ball skids a little bit, something like that. It happens.
Yep.
Hassan Kim is an outstanding defensive
Phenomenal
player. That was a ball up the middle. Doesn't really matter if you're a shortstop or a second baseman on a ball up the middle. He's going to make that play most of the season.
Yeah.
That was actually the only error the Padres committed. Today, I'm calling this Nelly Cruz opening day, because I fully expect Nelson Cruz to get his first start at designated hitter going up against a lefty in Kyle Freeland. I wonder what other potential lineup changes we'll see. Does Trent Grisham drop in the order against a lefty today? I would expect he won't bat leadoff against Kyle Freeland, that you'd probably see him deeper in the order, because why why set up a lefty-lefty matchup 3 times when maybe you only have to do it 2 times late in the order? So does that mean, Ha-Sung Kim goes up to the leadoff spot? Do you just bump Xander Bogaerts up to the leadoff spot today? I'll be curious as to what Bob Melvin's day 2 lineup looks like. We'll ask him about it.
Yeah,
And he won't tell us
at all, but that's
at
fine.
9:35 this morning when we're joined by Bob Melvin on our management report.
Yeah, look forward to that. Always look forward to talking to Bob.
Well, I've got some thoughts, and you'll see
tonight.
around 2:30 or so when we put out the lineup what we decided. He does surprise us sometimes. Sometimes he's absolutely,
by the way,
direct and tells us exactly what's going to happen.
Got to give credit where credit's due. Coach actually nailed that lineup yesterday. I asked him what he thought the lineup was going to be. He absolutely nailed that lineup.
He did
when he sat in with us at Happy Does. He had Grisham in the leadoff, and on he went.
We did. All right, our
well
Padres
done.
wrap up was brought to you by Hamul Casino with thrilling slots and tables. All the best rewards. Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. All right, we'll come back, play a little Take on Woods. We'll get into some Don't Do This, hour number 2 on a Friday next on 97.3 The Fan. Well, guess how Better Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. One cool thing yesterday at Petco Park about opening day was the video board. They found a few fans who were not decked in Padres gear, but instead in San Diego State Aztecs gear.
Yep.
Put them on the board. Always elicited some big cheers from the Petco Park crowd, excited about the Final Four run. And we just got an announcement from the Padres. Paulie, call that up. Padres are going to be doing something pretty cool tomorrow at Petco Park.
Yeah, the Padres are going to open up the gates to Petco starting at 2:30 tomorrow, and they will show SDSU's game against Florida Atlantic in the Final Four on the giant video screens.
Good bit.
So fans with tickets to tomorrow night's Padres game.
Yeah.
It's a 5:40 start. You can get in at 2:30.
2:30. That's an hour or so earlier than you can usually get in.
Yep. Tip-off's at 3:09, and it's the first game of the day, so
it's a pretty good screen.
Shouldn't be any
if you want to
delays.
watch a college basketball game.
I would think so.
I don't
And
think you're going to find a bigger television in San Diego.
nice views and whatnot. So then what happens when the games start? They just
Well, I'd imagine, college basketball, kind of 2 hours and 10, 15 minutes.
you'd
so.
be butted right up
It's
in
gonna
your
be real
Yeah,
close.
I mean,
They'll have already started the pregame announcements.
yeah, by the end, I don't know that you're going to get to see the entire game.
But if you do want to see the entire game, you know where else you can go tomorrow?
Senior Grubbies.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
Carlsbad.
Yeah, we started kind of making the announcement yesterday, and Jake Peavy walked in to Happy Does.
Like
and
right in
just
the middle of it.
had to
Adam's
cut
like, all right, cool.
cut
thanks,
it
guys."
off. But yes, so tomorrow, Senior Grubbies in Carlsbad, 377 Carlsbad Village Drive. Me and Chris Zello, the Aztec alum, going to be broadcasting live from 1 to 3, getting you ready. And then stick around for an Aztecs watch party. Woods is going to be out
I will
there.
be
I think
there.
almost the entire 97.3 The Crew is coming out. Specials
97.3 The Crew.
97.3 The Fan Crew is going to be out there. Specials include $2 tacos, $12 beer buckets with 4 beers per bucket. If you do the math, that's $3 per beer.
Why do you hate the fan? You really hate fans so much.
97.3 The Crew.
97.3 The Crew.
We're the 97.3 Crew.
Shout out
Did I say The Crew?
You said 97.
Didn't I say the 97.3 Crew?
No, I think you said
No.
97.3 The Crew.
That's what I heard.
All right. It's tomorrow, though. Senior Grubbies in Carlsbad for our Aztec watch party.
Yes, I will be there. If I'm not dead, I'm cough coming on. So, yeah, we got Seals game tonight against Calgary out at Pechanga Arena. We got Padres tonight. It's gonna be a crazy weekend. Then, of course, I'm excited to watch that game, man. You had told us a little bit earlier, a little nervous because something different is happening.
Yes, I've been going through it, and pretty much, I mean, not everybody, but in the first 4 rounds of the tournament, round 1, Charleston, sexy upset pick
Sexy upset
across
pick.
the country,
So
including
many-
all the college basketball
so many
experts.
12-5.
A lot of them had San Diego State losing. Furman, second round. Oh, so many people like the
Sexy
Paladins
Furman.
to knock off the Aztecs and get to the Sweet
Furman.
16. In the Sweet 16, of course, everybody on Alabama,
no
number 1
way.
overall seed. This is where the
There's no
dream
way.
runs for SDSU ends. And then, even though the Aztecs were the better seed, Creighton was clearly the favorite
Nobody's
of the
beating
college
Creighton.
football,
No
the knowledgeable college football expert in the college basketball expert in the Elite 8. So here we are now. The Aztecs have reached the Final Four, and I'm looking at all the picks this morning. Seth Davis says he's got the Aztecs as the pick, -1.5. I look at ESPN's experts, every one of them, all 4 that they have in their column this morning, all of them picking San Diego State to win the game. How do you go through an entire tournament where you don't think this team is going to win any single time? And now they get to,
Now
the,
they
final
get to the
four.
Final Four.
And I know they're playing a 9 seed, but guess what? That 9 seed played really well to get here.
Yeah, but you also picked against them against the 12 seed, and what was Furman?
13 seed. Yep.
Yeah, so
But now against the 9 seed Florida
Well,
Atlantic,
some-
everybody thinks the Aztecs are going to win tomorrow.
sometimes people need to see it to believe it, and to see what they were able to do against Alabama. Obviously, Ben, that turns a lot of heads, and again, Creighton as well. Creighton could shoot; they were a really good shooting team. Did not shoot particularly well. Why? Because of the Aztecs smothering, stifling defense. You watch them play 4 defensive games like that. How do you not pick them? How do you not pick them to run the table?
Especially
Honestly,
against that team.
especially against that team.
They're not if they're paired up with UConn, probably more split. But come on, you should win that game.
You're feeling
you should
good
be the
about
favorite
tomorrow.
Here's what
every
I think.
expert that's watched college basketball should be picking the Aztecs to win.
Picked Alabama like
As they probably should. They probably should.
Can't be
I'm
mad
not
about them
offended
picking
that
the
they picked
number one.
Alabama. I picked Alabama in my bracket
I did too.
to get through the Sweet 16. So that one didn't bother me as much as, I mean, at least you should have some people picking San Diego State in the first 2 rounds.
right.
And it felt like no one was.
Only Bo Woods, the only one.
Still alive in the
alive.
bracket,
Still
for the
alive.
championship.
Unbelievable.
Need a contestant for Take on Woods here in about 2 minutes. So if you want to call in now,
Good day to beat me.
play
by the
our
way.
game. Yeah, Woods is not at 100%. So a chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. 833-288-0973. Call now. We're not playing yet, though. You don't have to leave. You can stay for another couple of minutes. 833-288-0973. Here's my theory on the NCAA tournament. Momentum doesn't really carry over from one week to the next. Yes, I mean, everyone's saying UConn looks unbeatable, and they certainly did the first 4 games. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll be the same team. These are still college kids, and there's a lot of fluctuation when you travel week to week.
Different arena,
different arenas,
setup.
Different emotions that affect college students as you would. And it's not. I mean, it's fine. They're college kids. I think UConn is definitely the favorite here, but they're not. You can't just expect them to play the way they did against Gonzaga. Oh, they beat Gonzaga by 25. They're going to throttle Miami, and then they're going to wax the floor with either San Diego State or Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic, they've been shooting well. They get through the tournament. Doesn't mean they're going to shoot well in this round of the NCAA tournament. One thing, though, that does carry over is defense. San Diego State, you don't really get cold on defense like you do in shooting, like you do in other elements of the game.
It's fundamentals.
You can always play your good defense.
If you are a good defensive team, you should always be a good defensive
No,
team.
I think San Diego State has gotten a little bit lucky. It's not as though Creighton had no open threes.
No, you're right.
They missed some. And, part of that is San Diego State, with being such defense that when you finally get an open three, a little harder to make. Like, I've got to there's more pressure on this one. I finally get an open one. If Florida Atlantic, makes a few of those, that when they do get the opportunities, they can win this game. But I will tell you that San Diego State's defense will once again make it very difficult on the Owls. The matchup, size-wise, and, just in terms of what Florida Atlantic is trying to do, does seem to favor the Aztecs in this game. And that's why all the college basketball experts are picking San Diego State to win this one.
Yep. I mean, and like Paulie said, I think it's probably the smart pick here. But yeah, you got to play the defense that you've been playing. I think they will. So somebody's going to have to figure out a way to step up. Matt Bradley's going to have to figure out a way to score 12 points. If Matt Bradley scores 12 points and you play defense,
Heck, 18 would be nice.
18 would be
we know
fantastic.
he can do it.
We know he's got it in him.
And one thing that he won't go up against is, those taller players that he had to face against.
Yeah, there's just one.
In Alabama. There's the one center. He'll be underneath. He won't be trying to block Matt Bradley's, fall away 15-footer. He'll be able to get it over the 6'4" guards that play for Florida Atlantic. So it doesn't mean he's going to make them, but he'll be able to get his shots in that game. I agree with you 100% there. College basketball Woods.
Thank you.
Matt Bradley and his offense will play a key role in determining the outcome of the game tomorrow.
I usually sit on all my good takes for the.
You wait until the Final Four.
I wait until the tournament. I'm a big tournament guy.
All right, I see some callers coming in. Now you may leave as we get to Take on Woods. And we say good morning to James for Take on Woods today. Hello, James.
Good morning. Let's go Padres.
Good morning. All right, 1-1 after today. That's our goal. But you can go 1-0
Padres
in Take on Woods today. And if you do beat or tie Woods, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing. It is tickets to see 38 Special. Still a fan favorite after all these years. They'll be live in concert on April 28th at the International Theater at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. We'd like to send you there 2 nights at the Westgate and tickets to the show. All you have to do is take on Woods, beat him or tie him in our 5-question, 60-second musical challenge. And to give you a bit of an advantage, we'll let you go first and pick the category. Here are your choices, James. We've got From Your Lips, musical answers that include the word lips, Way Station, 5 songs that include the word way, and Make Mine a Double, 5 songs with a type of alcoholic beverage in the title. That would be a fun one for Woods today after feeling a little hungover. So, James, which one would you like to play? From Your Lips, Way Station, or Make Mine a Double?
Let's go. Make mine a double.
Make Mine a Double. All right. We are looking for 5 songs again with a type of alcoholic beverage in the title. You'll get 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll skip it and come back if there's time left on the clock. Our first question is our 2-second song. Paulie will give you a little bit of music. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. And remember the category, alcoholic beverages. Are you ready, James?
Let's go.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. The category, Make Mine a Double. Your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck, James. Let's take on Woods.
Tennessee whiskey, Chris Stapleton.
Correct. Which classic drinking song begins with the line, nibbling on sponge cake?
Margaritaville.
Correct. Reggae pop band UB40 had a hit in 1983 when they covered which
Red Wine.
Correct. Which classic rap song features the line, with my mind on my money and my money on my mind?
Sipping on gin and juice.
Correct. Toby Keith enlisted Willie Nelson's help for which hit the top the country charts in 2003?
Here for my horse.
Oh, very
Well
nicely
done.
done, James. 5 for 5. You'll be a little hungover tomorrow with all that alcohol, but you do qualify for the trip to Vegas. Now, the only question is whether Woods can match you and not take an L on a Friday. All right, James's score is locked in. Welcome back. You don't want to disappoint. You've got your wife sitting right here.
She doesn't care.
It'd be
trust
very
me.
embarrassing if you lost.
She's always disappointed.
All right, let's reset.
Well, disappointed
Reset.
yesterday.
Reset the questions. Reset our song. 60 seconds on the clock.
Twice, actually.
Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on James.
Sounds like Chris Stapleton. I'm going to pass, though.
Which classic drinking song begins with the line, nibbling on sponge cake?
That was Chris Stapleton, Tennessee whiskey.
Correct.
Margaritaville.
Correct. Reggae pop band UB40 had a hit in 1983 when they covered which 1967 Neil Diamond song?
Pass.
Which classic rap song features the line, with my mind on my money and my money on my mind?
Gin and juice.
Toby Keith enlisted Willie Nelson's help for which
Beer
hit?
for my horses.
Correct. Reggae pop band UB40 had a hit in 1983 when they covered which 1967 Neil Diamond song?
Something about drinking. Not Sweet Caroline. It's UB40. Oh, Red Wine.
Oh, and it picks it up right at the end for a 5-5
Red wine,
tie.
make me feel so fine. You keep me rocking all of the time. Red wine, make me feel so fine. Keep me rocking.
A lot of
time.
people thought that was a Bob Marley cover, but it's not. It's Neil Diamond.
Sounds terrible. That's Neil Diamond?
Neil Diamond had the original.
Did red wine. It feels a little Neil Diamond.
Yeah,
oh
but
my God.
UB40 was the one who really made it their own in the 1980s. 5-5. Everyone gets
my
it right
God,
on a
5-5.
Friday. You needed that
Jeez.
one.
Woo.
James, though, you qualify. Hang on the line. Paulie will get your
5-5s.
information during the break. We'll put you into the drawing for the grand prize. We had 2 this week. Perfect scores.
Man.
And now you're even more hungover after
Yes.
all of that alcohol in our category. Make mine a double this morning.
I literally could vomit thinking about alcohol.
Well, you know what could really make Woods vomit? In fact, probably did last night. One of our Don't Do This stories.
I was incensed.
I was even.
Got you?
I actually, my stomach turned a little bit.
I love this. All right, you're gonna hear some audio. Padre fans, settle in, strap in. This may be why I'm in the worst mood I've been in all year. This audio is maybe what has pushed me over the edge this morning.
All right, that's coming up next. Don't go away. It's Ben and Woods. We'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The
All
Fine.
of the time. Red wine. Such a
Don't do this.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron. Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't Do This
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
You can listen to 97.3 The Fan or The Crew if you'd like on the Odyssey app for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Legoland every hour. You listen now through April 16th equals 1 entry in the contest. Awesome awaits at Legoland California Resort. Check out their newest edition, Miniland San Diego, featuring a replica of Petco Park. Tickets at legoland.com/California. And I know your dad listens a lot, so he's got a lot of entries to win those tickets to Legoland that he does not want to pay for again.
No.
Woodsy, why don't you get us started and just get this off your chest, because I can tell it's been eating at you for the first hour and 20 minutes of our program today.
Legitimately, I think this is what put me in such a tailspin. I am the biggest, hey guys, no big deal. It's just one game. Let's go 1-0 today and everything's fine and enjoy the ride. These are all my mantras. But when I heard this last night, Ben, it sunk me into, like, I was so mad. And I sent it to you and Paulie, and I go, can you believe these smug PR words? Because I would never say the other P word, babe, because you don't like that word at all. I get the massage.
Is the bell around? Do we bring it with us?
Yep, she's got a acapella bell. So last night on the Dodgers and Diamondbacks broadcast, somebody tweeted this into my timeline, and I go, should I listen, or is this going to enrage me? And, of course, I did, because I'm an idiot.
4-game series with the Diamondbacks, and then a 2-game series with the Colorado Rockies, who, by the way, currently have a 7-2 lead over the San Diego Padres. Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
Oh, Oral. You would think that after winning 111 games and then getting your ass kicked by those same Padres last season, 6 months ago, that you would have just one tiny shred of humility, intelligence. Play it again, Paulie, so I can re-rage.
4-game series with the Diamondbacks, and then a 2-game series with the Colorado Rockies, who, by the way, currently have a 7-2 lead over the San Diego Padres. Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
Pluck your eyebrows more.
I get it. I mean, all they've heard all spring is Bob Melvin every single day guaranteeing his team would win a World Series
title. We've heard that about that team for 15 years. What if they won?
Of course, they're going to rub it in the Padres' faces. All the, all the big boasts that the Padres have made all spring.
They haven't.
No, they haven't.
The national media has, and I get that. Oh, I was so hot. And you, again, like I said, you're really going to unbuckle your belt, take your pants off in the booth, and do that over opening day. Honestly, guys, that's what spun me out. It really is. It's what pissed me off. That's why I was coming in. I was unfair to everyone. I apologize, but I was so mad at that last night.
And for the record, because we've said it many times, and I will say it again, the Dodgers, while perhaps not as loaded as they have been in previous years, remain a formidable threat.
We've said it all season
in the National League West and in the National League.
And somebody tweeted last night.
And we've never changed from that. And no one has ever said otherwise in San Diego.
Never. And I love how Mud and Don do their job. They would never do that, ever. Those guys are turds. They're turds. Oh, I was so mad. I was so hot mad when I heard that. Just it's the smugness. Again, my friends, really good team with a lot of regular season wins. Yet you're not a dynasty. You're not. I'll say it again. I'll say it every year. You're not, but you act like you are. That's my biggest problem. You have good players. Dave Roberts is a seemingly likable fella. They walk around, Ben, like they are packing 12 inches all the time. And they're not. They're just average. They're average. They don't win World Series titles. They don't. That's the problem for me, and it always has been. Their fans talk down to our fans, but you have no championships. You've got an asterisk championship in 40 years, and you've spent more money than any other professional sports team, at least in this country. Some European soccer teams may feel a little different. No one has spent more money than the Dodgers in the last 30 years. For what? A little 60-game championship, and that drives them crazy. It drives them crazy. And guess what? As it should. They have squandered away probably 5 opportunities to win a championship that I can think of, at least. You're not a dynasty. Stop acting like you are, Oral.
But they'll make excuses about the
100%
Astros cheating or whatever's going on.
It drove me. That's what pissed me off so bad, was that audio last night. So I apologize to Blake Snell. I love you. I apologize to Juan Soto. I love you. Apologize to all of our boys. Let's get them today. Okay.
And also go Diamondbacks.
Now it was just weird because I don't want those guys to win either.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. So I will.
hot.
I will also
save
go
that.
You gotta-
save it, and star it. Put it in red.
If you had to sit down for dinner with Bob Brenly or Oral Hershiser,
Bob
who do you
Brenly
pick?
in a heartbeat.
Really?
In a heartbeat.
I think.
I think Bob is just an old. I think he's just old.
If there
school.
is a parade in our future, and that's an if, it's a big if still.
Of course it is.
We
It's
are,
an if for
we are
everything.
playing that clip to open the
Cancel
show.
the parade.
We're playing that clip. November.
Cancel the parade. That's
6th,
why you play the
hopefully,
game.
2023.
Get those. Pluck those eyebrows some more, Joe.
All right. I will also go to Dodger Stadium for a don't do this, but this is one that's actually led to a little bit of debate. Now, I didn't see. I wasn't into the ballpark for the first couple of innings. I was still working on TV outside. I didn't see anyone run onto the field at Petco Park during the game. Did security ever have to be called in for what you guys saw? I may have missed it if there was.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
No,
I don't think so.
The crowd was pretty jovial.
You know,
from what I could tell.
People, partying all day. It does tend to happen. And someone ran onto the field at Dodger Stadium, but it wasn't the old just try to evade security or, pull your shirt off or whatever. He actually had a mission. Guy ran into right field at Dodger Stadium, turned back toward the stands where he was sitting. His girlfriend out there gets on one knee, and you can see what he's doing. He is making a marriage proposal on the field at Dodger Stadium. Now, again, I can never condone running onto the field, but
I think
kind of a romantic grand gesture, wasn't it? A little bit. I will give him a little bit of credit for that. His reward, I don't know if she said yes or not, but he got absolutely
I hope she didn't.
leveled.
I hope she was mortified.
Leveled by the stadium security guard who went in with a flying form tackle. I mean, this guy, combine score went up with the tackle that he made of a fairly non-threatening fan onto the stands. Now,
I don't think you can look at any fan on the field as non-threatening. I think that's just, if you're on the field, I think in this day and age, bro, don't you automatically have to assume that if you're on an area where you shouldn't be, and a field is definitely that for a fan, then you are a threat. He may not have a 9mm in his sock, but he might. Stranger things have happened.
Wouldn't he be a bigger threat in the stands if he had a 9mm?
I mean, yes.
The field far away
yes.
from everybody is exactly where you'd want that guy to
But,
be.
these days,
Now, if he's running up to a player, absolutely.
That
If he's,
dude
but he
is so
wasn't.
scary.
He was far away from anyone
get
on the
it.
field. He was on a knee already, and he just got absolutely leveled by the security guard. The security guard just walked up, grabbed him by the arm, and walked him off the field fairly easily.
That dude woke up this morning and went, all right, question for you guys. Over under, he was sober when he did it. Because again, he went out there with a purpose to propose, allegedly. That's what they're saying. So sober, did he need
did he bring the
6
ring with him? I mean,
then, I'm imagining.
I think so
6 to
too.
8
I don't think anybody has
Modelo's.
ever ran onto the field sober.
How could you? How could you possibly? It is quite terrifying. But hey, what's the other thing I say a lot? If you don't start any, there won't be any. You won't get form tackle. I can promise you guys this. This is a promise. I will not be getting form tackled on Petco Park's field at any time this season. That's one thing I know isn't going to happen to me. I'm assuming you as well, Ben, Paul. I'm assuming
happening to me.
not happening to us. Sam Levitt, different story.
Maybe. Adam, probably.
Adam Klug, almost, I'd say 50-50 on that. Trying to get an in-game interview or something. But yeah, I just think you stay off the fields, and it made for a
Stop shouting to Peter Seidler, sir. Stop shouting at Peter Seidler, sir.
Because it's against the Dodgers.
What'd you say? I can't hear you over the din.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
Still, I got nothing. You have a mask on, and it's really loud. Bad Bunny's playing.
Got to do this for us?
Do I have a do this?
I think you
do.
did,
This
yes.
was a
DD mega doo-doo.
This was, I would say, I'd say, unfortunately, this was a topic that got a little bit too much, a little bit too much in the wrong direction. But we played the Colorado Rockies last night, and one of their notable absences, other than Jurickson Profar, the newest Rocky, by the way, Ben, who's still getting it kind of worked out in Arizona. Josh Bard. I'm sorry, Daniel Bard, not Josh Bard. Daniel Bard is starting the season on the IL, but he's starting the season on the IL with anxiety, which I thought, I don't know. I mean, we've seen guys step away and take mental health breaks and things like that, which I think is super important. I'm probably have taken one today myself. But yeah, he said he decided to be open and honest about what he's going through instead of trying to hide it. Now, you guys might remember, man, in the WBC, got a little of the yips, which is what knocked him out of baseball for so long. He's made a really valiant comeback and become a really great closer. They paid him to be a really great closer, and the season was about to start, and he goes, I can't do it. I'm not ready in my head. I think that takes a lot more courage. I really do. That takes a lot more courage than to grab the ball and go, all right, I'll try to get us through these last 3 outs. I think the courage to say, I'm not ready. If his knee was hurt, if his knee was killing him and he's like, I want to be there for my team, and I just can't get it. No one would blink an eye. But when you say anxiety, he was getting called all kinds of names on Twitter and stuff. And it's unfortunate because ask any person with anxiety, hey, do you like this life that you have? They will all, to a man or woman, say, it's horrible. It's horrible. No, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy.
I'm glad you made it to do this.
Yeah, I think it absolutely
it takes obviously a lot of courage to do what he did and admit, he needs a little time and a little bit of help.
And you know what? Kudos to the Rockies. We've been hard on them. He did say it's a hard thing to admit. I've been through this before. I've got enough going on outside the game to realize what's important. I'm extremely grateful to be in an organization that understands these things and is accepting. That in and of itself is amazing.
The
so
real
good for them.
The real test, though, is if he's in free agency, will a GM hold that against him, knowing?
I mean, who knows?
I could sign him, but will he be available? Will he have anxiety issues and not be when we need him to be out there? Well, he might not be out there. Now, that's true of every baseball player.
That's true of every
sign.
baseball player. But the other thing is, it is an odd choice of role for a guy with anxiety. But we've seen him do it, which means the demon that he has, he's able to conquer it. And we've seen him go out and be against us many times.
I mean, we've seen
very good.
Rick Ankiel.
Yeah. Never really got over his.
Was a guy who had it. And then, and I don't know what mental issues kind of led to it, but certainly a mental block. You had some catchers. Mike Ivy was one who had trouble throwing the ball back to the pitcher. Could do everything else. Field, but that simple task of throwing the ball back to the pitcher became a mental block. Simple throws from second base. Second baseman Steve Sachs of the Dodgers was Chuck Knobloch, another who all of a sudden just lost the ability to make that throw, 30% of the time.
I've never had the yips in baseball, but I've had the yips in golf, and it is like the creepiest, craziest, unexplainable thing, and you want to break every club over your knee. But I thought that was an impressive thing for him, and again, the Rockies organization for understanding what he's going through. They just want him back doing his very best when he's able. So I thought that was pretty cool.
And that is Don't and Do This for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Big week for Craig Elston. Soccer's got a win last night. He was the MC for a giant announcement at Snapdragon Stadium, and he's going to make his weekly Crossing Streams appearance with Ben and Woods coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
just really like this song, so I wanted to keep playing. This hour, 97.3 The Fan, brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, home of the world-famous Bob-O-Pedic mattresses. With all the comfort and quality of a national mattress brand for half the price, no matter your budget, there is a Bob-O-Pedic memory foam hybrid or hybrid plus mattress for you. Check them out at mybobs.com.
There you go. Very nicely done, Woodsy.
Appreciate you.
Got Craig Elston standing by. Our Crossing Streams segment. He had a big week. I didn't even realize he was going to be moderating such an important press conference. We'll talk.
He was also crushing it at the Wave game on the PA.
That's right.
The dude has been slammed.
We'll talk to Craig right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. We got a hit and run crash now on the northbound side of the 805, just before Orange Avenue. That's over to the right shoulder. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's Choice. They're a different kind of dealership looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet, find new roads. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And as we bring Craig on to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, I need to ask him, did you ever dream, 25 years ago, Craig, that your life would be so centered around the game of soccer at this stage of your life?
Nor that San Diego would be so into it. No, absolutely not. But here we are, right? The evolution of both life, sports, and career all intersect in America's finest city.
Yeah, you take what life hands you sometimes, and you squeeze it, and you run with it. Our pal Craig Elston is on right now. I wanted to ask you your thoughts of the game. I was kind of pissy when I came in this morning, but I had overserved a little bit, so I was a little hungover. I feel better now, and I do realize, obviously, it's just one game, Craig, but it was disappointing. I was disappointed yesterday.
I was disappointed Wednesday night when
the text came out.
Yeah, when the text came out.
Craig in particular was upset.
Oh, yeah, because you had a soccer's game.
Yes, sir. And we had a whole live post-game show planned for after the game, and I wound up not being on my own show because our game ended like literally 2 minutes after the Padres game ended. So shout out to Chris Reed and Rafi Cantor who filled in for me on the Padres Hot Tub post-game show. But the good news about that is I have a little bit more clinical detachment. It's highlights and read-throughs as opposed to living through it. I mean, it's baseball, guys, obviously on one level. I'll spoiler alert what I said Monday night on our Padres Hot Tub Prediction podcast. And I'll put the good part first, okay? I picked the Padres to win 95 games, and I think that it's at least 50-50 that's good enough to win the division. I think people underrate the Dodgers in town a little bit because of who we are. Nonetheless, I think from about mid-May till the end of the year, the Padres are going to be the best team in baseball. I really do believe that. But I think from now until mid-May, they're not going to be the best team in baseball. I think this team right now has some structural issues on the fringes of the roster that normally won't be a problem. And if the superstars hit right away and everyone clicks right away, then it still won't be a problem. But the back end of this bullpen is not what we signed up for. The Robert Suarez injury is a serious injury. Morejon and Pomerantz both being out at the same time. Hey, they're both injury prone. Yeah, you have to expect it. But now you've got Chris Matt coming in as a fireman instead of a long man. Now you've got Tapia, who I literally found out was a human being that lives and throws a baseball, I think on Monday, out there turning a close game into a not close game. And today, Nick Martinez will be the second starter for the Padres. None of this is what folks signed up for, but I think what San Diego fans need to remember is that we're not in the Final Four anymore. The Aztecs are in the Final Four. We're back to 30 teams now, and all 30 teams are good in their own way. And over time, the Padres will be one of the better of those teams. But the vagary of baseball, man, I've been waiting for this in a weird way for people to kind of remember, oh yeah, bad games happen.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're going to have a stretch of the season where you play 500 or sub 500 ball, whether it's a month and a half. As long as you turn into the team you expect, really no problem. You don't want to be playing your best baseball in April. You want to be playing it in October. That's the goal of this team. Doesn't mean you want to lose games like you did last night, but I think it's a good perspective, Craig. Tell me about that press conference though earlier this week. Wrexham, Man U, a giant soccer event coming to Snapdragon Stadium in July. You were up there with the actor Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, one of the co-owners with Ryan Reynolds of Wrexham AFC, and part of that reality show. And there was Craig Elston all of a sudden.
Well, and it's nice. I do think that our town is a lot more of a soccer city than our sports media is. I think there's still a lot of football guys in our local sports media.
Indeed.
And I'm thankful for the opportunity sometimes to be able to slide in as somebody who knows what happens with soccer. But I tell you what an exciting thing. And Sports San Diego, the local city council connected group is looking to bring big events to the city. JD Wicker and the Aztecs promised when Snapdragon Stadium was built that not only would it be a great place for the Aztecs, but it would be a great place for San Diego. And I think they're proving that out. And right now I feel like it's way more of a soccer stadium than it is a football stadium. You've got the Wave, who got over 30,000 for their opener. And from what I heard, they're going to sell out the lower bowl Saturday and be over 18,000 going head to head with the Padres. And now you've got Manchester United, arguably the most popular soccer club in the world, against Wrexham AFC, which is the most emergent brand, thanks to Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney and the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, which I have previously recommended
Indeed.
here on the Ben and Woods Crossing Streams segment. And now it's to the level. Manchester United would fill Snapdragon Stadium if they were playing Cathedral Catholic. They're Manchester United. But Wrexham now has this amazing opportunity, as Rob McElhenney said, to become America's team, to become kind of a darling, even though they're in 4th division of English football in the pyramid. It's going to be July 25th. I know the pre-sale tickets went in a hurry, and I heard that the current sale tickets are through the roof. So it's going to be a big event. And I just think it's a lot of fun to see, here we are now. It was just a few years ago, the Chargers left and people are like, oh, San Diego, sports town's never been worse. And now you've got not only the Padres commanding the city's attention in downtown Azu, but you've got top flight women's soccer, top league in the world. You've got Loyal playing Division II, but MLS is knocking on the door. You've always had top flight indoor soccer, the best in the world. It's becoming really a soccer mad area that now giant brands like Manchester United want to have their footprint in San Diego.
So I guess, Craig, I'm just a little confused almost. Why San Diego? Because that game would sell out SoFi Stadium, AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Is it the new stadium? Is it San Diego is just that great of a soccer market? Or are they doing a world, a U.S. tour? Because it's a little surprising that they would pick little Snapdragon Stadium when that would sell out an 80,000 seat stadium.
So I think it's yes to the 3 questions that you asked. Yes, United is on a U.S. tour. Yes, Wrexham is going on a U.S. tour. So they won't just play in San Diego. I'm not sure if they're playing each other like a barnstorming tour all around the country or not. I haven't heard those announcements. Right? Yeah, exactly. Maybe they will play the Savannah Bananas, and that would be fun to see. But both teams are touring the country. So there's that aspect, but San Diego's an emergent market. Everyone knows what's going on with the MLS situation within the soccer world. Snapdragon Stadium is a beautiful stadium. The city is trying to bring events like this in. So kudos to Sports San Diego Committee and the city for recruiting, essentially, and getting this event to town. And soccer clubs are taking notice, and they do want to have this stop in this incredible cross-border community that loves sports so much. Don't forget, guys, because it would be easy to forget, because the San Diego American media really didn't cover it. But last weekend, you had the Wave get 30,000. You had the Wrexham Manchester United announcement Monday. In between, Xolos and Club America played a friendly at Snapdragon Stadium Sunday afternoon that had another 30,000 people
Nuts.
in the stadium. So it's a soccer mad region.
And you got the Sockers wrapping up the regular season on Sunday. Paulie was talking about that earlier. Congratulations on the win last night. Playoffs coming up, but I got a couple minutes left. Let's get to our Crossing Streams recommendation for the week.
Certainly, and we're going to keep it simple here today, guys, and I'll use it shamelessly as a cross plug as well. Succession is back. The best show on television is back. Season 4, episode 1 dropped on Sunday. There are very few shows, and I mean very few shows, guys, that we take the Crossing Streams feed, slam the brakes, bring it to a halt, and cover every single episode of a show and just go week by week. And Succession is that show. I think it's been Succession and Game of Thrones that we've done it for the most part. So every Monday night now, myself, the great Justice Parman, who's had a huge 48 hours after his amazing hype video drop for Padres on Wednesday, and the inimitable Corey Stewart. The three of us get together for a little show we call Full Bleeping Beast, where we cover Succession start to finish. Sunday's episode left nothing on the table. They picked right up where they left off, and this is the final season of Succession. Jesse Armstrong made that announcement. Season 4 is the last season. They're not going to overstay their welcome. It looks like they're going to go out on all cylinders. So you can catch every single episode and catch up if you're one of those folks who never started on HBO Max. But people always question, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, what is Succession? And it's a comedy. Succession is a comedy. It is one of the most viciously funny shows that television has ever seen. But what makes it great is it's a comedy that has the ability to turn on a dime and to produce some of the best drama you've ever seen as well. So people go, is it a funny drama or is it a comedy with pathos? My answer is the second. It's one of the funniest shows around. You'll laugh out loud almost every single show, but it also can turn the hook. That's what makes it so great.
It's brilliant. And this one, you know me, I fall asleep watching a show, even a show I love. I stayed right up through it, Craig, and then started it over again. Then I fell asleep, but it was so good.
Is it weird that I always crave one character to root for, and you can
can't
never
find
find one in that show?
If you're a deviant like myself, you like Roman. That's my guy. I'm a big Roman guy.
And I'm a Tom Wambsgans guy. I just think Tom's playing the game.
I can't stand Tom.
Tom makes me, I want to fight him. Like, I can't stand him. He's like this snooty East Coast prep school kid. And I just can't stand that dude. But that's what makes it great. You end up hating the majority of these people.
I thought we were going to try to like cousin Greg, but no.
He's the worst.
They're all so bad.
The disgusting brothers. That's so good. Go watch it. My God. Hannah's the only human I know that doesn't watch it.
All right, Craig. Soccer's tomorrow night. Playoffs around the corner. As always, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care, boys. Be well.
Craig Elston, Crossing Streams on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. All right, we are halfway home on a Friday, and yes, none of us are feeling at our best today.
No.
You a little hungover.
Yeah,
I am overworked. I was just bone tired at the end of the day. I didn't even know that I was going to be able to get home last night. I was so tired. At the end of the night, I thought for a second, am I going to be able to get up in the morning? Here I am. We got to talk about this Padres opener and the rest of the series against the Colorado Rockies. We'll get to that coming up. We've got a couple of guests on the way, too, that'll help us out. Saris, his first appearance of the season, the skipper, Bob Melvin at 9:35. You wouldn't want to miss that. It's all ahead on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
Halfway home on a Friday, Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Good to have you with us. Great to see all of you guys out yesterday at Petco Park. Thank you for coming to Happy Does. Thank you to the Odyssey Promotions team for knocking it out of the park yesterday. The place looked phenomenal. Great work by Paulie yesterday. Great work by Benjamin. I was pretty mid yesterday myself.
Adam was great.
Adam was great. Ran into him later in Gallagher Square, sucking on a beer. And just a sweet, sweet angel of a man, that Adam Klug. So, it was a long day, but certainly a fun day. And other than the outcome of the game, it was pretty spectacular. I thought the pomp and circumstance was really, really great. Thought the helicopter flyover was rad. Loved seeing all the guys introduced. It's just one of the best parts of the year.
I think ultimately they made the right decision to push the game back to 6:40. I know everyone got a little bit wet there, early on with that one cloud. And Angelica was covering. She had the radar up. We were doing the show, the 10 newscasts at the Marriott, and she had said, it looks like we're pretty in the clear. I mean, there's a chance for an isolated pop-up shower the rest of the day, but I think we're going to be okay. And she pulls up the radar and she goes, you're not going to believe this. There's one tiny cell off the coast, and it's going to hit us here in about 5 minutes. It's going to go right over Petco Park. It's not going to rain anywhere else in San Diego, but for about 10 minutes, it's going to rain just at Petco Park, and then that's going to be it. And I mean, could have been anywhere in the county that this rain cloud popped up.
I was in North Park at about 3:30. I looked outside. I go, are they playing a game tonight? Because it is like borderline hailing right now.
Yeah, earlier in the day, it was a nightmare. The game should have been fine. Everyone did get a little bit of soaked, and they had to bring out the grounds crew there in the, top of the second inning, just for a few minutes, get the diamond dry, get the rakes out. I give those groundskeepers something to do because they're going to have a very long, boring summer the rest of the year in San Diego.
You say that.
Certainly hope so.
You say that. It's rained every day here.
But I think it was the smart and wise decision to move the game time back to 6:40, even though, yes, it inconvenienced a few of us and changed plans a little bit from what we were anticipating on opening day.
If you're waiting for me to talk, I had to drink some tea.
That's good. Tea is good for you.
For my throat. Should go on vocal rest, actually.
I enjoyed the national anthem, the saxophone.
Yeah. One bad note, but it's okay.
But it was moving. It was going quickly.
He was very quick.
I like that. A fast instrumental is always my preferred form of national anthem before any game.
Instead of the long, drawn out 17 note, just I like quick. He was it was almost like swing time.
It's good. I've seen him do the anthem there a few times.
Yep, it was great. He had that last one. He tried to go high, and it was like, and then he brought it right back.
Didn't quite have the surprise of the national anthem at the St. Louis Cardinals game yesterday. I don't know if anyone saw this.
This was something else. Paulie sent this to us. In the afternoon. He goes, "Hey, this isn't actually half bad." And I go, "All right, we'll check it out." So then I listened and I went, I thought it was at least half bad. It was half bad.
You know what? Grading on a curve, I thought it was quite good.
Okay, on a curve.
If you ask every single Major League Baseball player to sing the national anthem,
we should do that.
This is going to be in the top 0.1%
next year. Spring training.
Juan Soto.
Oh, sing, can you sing, my people.
But
can we do it as a bit next year? Seriously.
So yeah, they did the introductions of the starting lineup.
It's a long song. I don't think I could sit through it 25 times.
We have each player sing one line, then we compile it
and
together.
We held it together.
End of spring training.
I love
Thank you.
it.
Write it down. Don't forget it. I'm serious. Somebody write it down. Please.
So yeah, they introduced the starting lineups at Busch Stadium, and then they have a couple of guys out there with guitars for the national anthem, and I don't think the players even knew.
They did not. His
because
teammates they did not know.
I was alerted by Katie Wu's tweet.
Yes.
And the excitement and shock that I could read through her text, I'm like, I don't think anyone in the building knew besides the people that coordinated.
And they say here to perform the national anthem, a new up and coming singer, Adam Wainwright.
Please remain standing and remove your caps. Performing today's national anthem, one of the most up-and-coming singers from right here in St. Louis, kicking off his final season as a player in St. Louis, number 50, Uncle Charlie, Adam Wainwright.
This is the net. Right,
He walks out of the line.
Great bit already. You
Yeah.
win. That's a great bit.
Like all the players that were next to
We're
him were
like,
like,
what?
what?
He walks out of the line where he had just been introduced over to the guitar players and the microphone that's just waiting there for him. And are we going to play it? Shall we? Let's listen in. Here's what it sounded like.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
Look, I've heard worse anthems from people that are actually
Professionals.
I thought this was Morgan Wallen. He's better than Morgan Wallen. I'll give you that.
And bright stars through the
He had his hand over his heart, and you can see the hat in his hand shaking.
Oh, my
because
yeah.
you give him a ball, tell him to take them out, no problem. To do that, you're nude. You might as well just be nude on stage. It's crazy.
We're so gallantly streaming.
Very slow, though.
He's doing it carefully, which is how I think anyone
That's how you
would.
have to do it. It's not an easy anthem to sing.
Bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still.
And this was certainly performed live. We've
Yeah, it
we've peeled the curtain back before.
That's-
A lot of the times, national anthems, they're lip singing.
That is not a pre-record.
Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
I thought, all things
Not
considered,
bad.
it was pretty
Yeah,
good.
B plus.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Well, the bit gets an A+.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a world-class bit.
I mean, can you imagine in however many years, like, been here, San Diego kid, Joe
He's gonna
Musgrove,
sing the nat. He
finishing up
probably could.
a 10-year run with the Padres, and
Yep.
nobody's expecting it. Like, that
That's a
would
good
be
bit.
crazy. But
Really, really A+ for the
I thought
for the
he
execution.
didn't try to hit the high note.
No.
He knew where he was.
Low register, little syrupy, and got it done. He got it done. It's awesome.
I
pretty
was pretty floored. I was like, okay, that's amazing
Yeah, that was really good.
that you can
Good.
do that and not embarrass
I mean,
yourself.
baseball
Very
players
impressive.
in particular love bits.
Yes,
But I mean, he had to have been just trembling.
he was trembling. I saw it. I saw his hand going da, 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 up against his
So you
chest.
know it was live.
So gnarly.
Now, the rest of the day didn't go quite as well for the Cardinals. Not only did they lose their opener, but got some injury concerns as well. Their new catcher in his first game, Wilson
Oh, I
Contreras,
did not see this.
suffered a knee injury. He's going to need an MRI. They're hoping
No.
it's not serious, but it could be something that knocks him out. That obviously is a big time concern for the St. Louis Cardinals, who lost to the Blue Jays 10-9. Any other games standing out to you yesterday?
Yeah, let's talk about what happened to the New York Mets 5 minutes before their game started against the Marlins. Justin Verlander gets put on the IL, and I don't know, Ben. What's the muscle? It's like in his what's this called? Your underarm? It's like
Your
it's
lat?
like-
Your
it's
armpit
under-
muscle.
No, it's like in his. It's like close to his armpit on his throwing arm. I would say that's fairly important for a high velocity pitcher or any pitcher that you would need that.
He
but
says it's a very minor thing.
Okay,
but
good.
That's what they all say at the beginning.
muscle strain. It's the teres major. It connects the scapula to the upper arm, and he will continue to throw at moderate intensity. They said, but yeah, I mean, if you're the Mets, you're like, oh boy. Brandon Nimmo, spring training, obviously Edwin Diaz goes down, and then now Justin Verlander. Max Scherzer went out and unfortunately for our beloved Skip Schumacher, he did not win his debut. But I think he'd probably take a little bit of comfort in the fact that it was against Max Scherzer. So, you go out and get the next one. But he had his ace on the mound too, Sandy Alcantara. So I was really pulling for him. Couple other games. As yesterday we did the second to brag on myself here. As we did the Tier 1 tour, the final one yesterday was the Houston Astros. And I extolled the virtues of their under-the-radar closer, Ryan Presley, Ben, who just continues to go out and get the job done game after game. These are all quotes from yesterday. Game after game. Nobody really talks about him. Guy just goes out, shuts it down, gets the save, and just kind of quiet. And he stepped into the ninth last night with a chance for the save, and he gave up 2 runs, and they lost the game. So
I was watching the first couple innings of that game.
My predictions are off to a good start.
I watched the first couple innings of that game on ESPN. It was their, Thursday night, but Sunday night broadcast basically. And is the umpire cam new? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, well, I think the way they're using it is fairly new. Obviously, they've had mass cams on umpires before. I mean, I've seen.
I remember
seen
catcher cams. I just haven't seen. I don't remember the umpire cam on the Sunday night baseball broadcasts last year. It was really cool.
So
big fan.
A couple other things. I mean, look, I if I was a gambling man still, I would have tweeted yesterday, the easiest money you will ever make is Shohei Ohtani minus a run and a half going up against the Oakland A's. Take $500, put it on Shohei Ohtani going in and shoving.
He didn't get lit up. I mean, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 10 strikeouts.
Right.
He was outstanding.
Yeah, but that I would have told you, go put your money on that game. You've got and it's not him. Go put your money on that Angels against the A's game. It's a run and a half, and put all your money on it. I mean, Angels were leading 1-0, and next thing I checked the score, and they lost 2-1. I'm like, you have got to be kidding.
Aaron Loop gave up a couple of innings, runs late in the game. Now, offensively, you can say Shohei Ohtani needed to do more to help Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher, get that win. The Angels just couldn't get any offense going on opening day. That's probably the most disappointing loss of the day, to waste a great pitching performance by him, by Ohtani like that, and not come away with a win. Now, you expected a pitcher's duel in Texas between Jacob deGrom and Aaron Nola. It did not materialize. deGrom was so-so. The Rangers, though, scored 9 runs in the 4th inning and ended up beating the Phillies 11-7 in that game, with Bruce Bochy winning his debut as manager for the Texas Rangers.
I definitely would not say his debut was so-so. I'd say it was downright horrific. If you're Jacob deGrom, he went 3 2/3. He gave up 5 runs on 6 hits, all extra bags. Now 5 to the opposite field. Guys getting, swinging late on him, but it doesn't matter. He's career highs given up by him yesterday. He never looks. I don't think it was nerves. Obviously, he never looks bothered. Like, his stuff looked fine. Yesterday, he was throwing really hard and looked good for a couple of innings. But that comeback yesterday was really, really something. And Phillies went down. Yankees beat our division rivals, the San Francisco Giants. Pretty much handled business on them. Judge, second pitch he saw of the season, yaks one out to center field. That's got to sting the Giants a lot. They were definitely in the mix for Aaron Judge and Arson Judge, and they did not get that done.
And while C.J. Cron did hit the 2 home runs, I'd say the star of the day in baseball offensively, Adley Rutschman of the Baltimore Orioles, goes 5 for 5 with a home run in the opener, and the Orioles beat the Red Sox 10-9.
That was a laugher.
Thrilling games of the day.
That was a laugher for. It was like 8-3. Do you know what happened to let the Sox back in?
I didn't see how they came back in it at the end of the game, but the Orioles did hold on for that win. And Adley Rutschman, a lot of people think could be an MVP candidate already, gets off to a huge start at the beginning of the season.
5 for 5, 3 RBI, a home run. I mean, just a stud behind the dish too. Just incredible. They were already talking. I think they asked the zoner after the game about extending him and getting him on the books for a while, and he legitimately pulled the small market quote, like, we're small market and we need to figure out, and just that guy is one you want to build around if you're the Baltimore
That's the
Orioles.
same owner who promised to open his books,
He never
but
did.
then when you asked him on President's Day or whatever it was,
I will not on this day.
Can't do it.
Not on
Can't
this
do
day
it on such an important holiday
of all days.
or whatever.
You asked me to open my books on President's Day. How dare you?
Whatever
sir?
holiday it was.
How dare you?
Might have
sir?
been Flag Day.
How dare you?
I'm not sure, but
The disrespect that you, the media,
and
have.
someone followed up finally and said, "Well, had you ever opened your books?" And he gave some big excuse as to why they they really couldn't do that. So
what
yeah.
had happened was 5 games in the major leagues today. Mets are going to continue to take on the Marlins.
Yeah, it's not a full schedule today.
No, you've got a pretty good matchup. Lance Lynn against Christian Javier in Houston. And, of course, we've got Kyle Freeland against Nick Martinez. Diamondbacks will take on the Dodgers. It'll be Merrill Kelly against Dustin May. And the Guardians will take on the Mariners. And it's Gaddis against Ray today. And that will be those 2 are the late games. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Mariners, Guardians.
We got the Final Four this weekend. And if you didn't hear it, we've got a big announcement about how you can join 97.3 The Fan for a Final Four watch party. We'll get to that.
How you can visit. Who was it again?
Almost the entire 97.3 The Crew is coming out.
97.3 The Crew.
The crew of 97.3. Not The Crew. The Crew. The 97.3 Crew.
97.3 The Crew.
I just moved the a little bit later in that sentence where it should.
You're having a real hard time with that.
All right, we'll get to that coming up after a check of traffic. Be back with more Ben Woods here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Crew.
I just realized who I sound like today. Boomer Esiason. You know, he has that scratchy, worn out voice. That's how I sound today.
He got that from calling plays at the line of scrimmage for so many years.
I got it from drinking rum punch on opening day yesterday.
Can you do an Odyssey Sports Minute for us quickly?
Lamar Jackson has turned down another offer. He's a free agent. Who knows where he'll go? I think he needs to get an agent. But what do I know? I just played in the NFL for 20 years. I'm Boomer Esiason for Odyssey.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah. Very impressive with
now
you.
my throat's even more cashed. So really would have think that through.
Speaking of professional national broadcasters, I was one of my favorite things I saw yesterday. So I'm watching some of the video they're sending in from Houston from the Final Four, and they're at NRG Stadium, got an open practice on the floor, and you see video of Dutch walking over. You got Jim Nantz and Bill Raftery there, just kind of meeting with the coaches before Saturday's game, and not even made up, just like natural Jim Nantz chatting with Dutch. And did you know that this is his final Four?
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
Jim Nantz is stepping down. This will be the last time he calls a Final Four game. So if the Aztecs do win on Saturday, the final college basketball
go.
game of Jim Nantz's
Legendary.
career will be San Diego State against either UConn or Miami. So they're getting a kind of a historic weekend in college basketball broadcasting. Jim Nantz has been doing the Final Four, I think, almost 25, 30 years for a long time.
It's iconic, right? When you hear it. They'll probably give it to Joe Davis.
Yeah, he's got so much on his plate still. He's going to probably step down from the NFL here in the few years. The one that he says he's never going to give up is the Masters.
On his deathbed in hospice, he'll still be calling. Just hold the screen up to my face. I can still do it.
That one, he's
Bring me my
he's not
mic.
ready to retire from Masters coverage anytime soon.
Why in God's name would you ever give up the Masters gig? Why would you ever?
I always feel like he had the best rotation of events, though. You get the NFL, you get the Super Bowl every 3 years on CBS. You get the Final Four, the biggest college basketball games, and you get the Masters and a couple of the other big golf tournaments every year, like the Farmers Insurance Open. Really, really solid schedule for Jim Nantz every year as a broadcaster.
Very lucky. So he'll finish up calling the final game
In his hometown
in
of
his
Houston.
hometown of Houston on Monday, and then his bags are packed, and he will be
Augusta
off to
National
Augusta.
next week. Yeah, it's next week is the Masters. Of course, the first round coincides with the Ben & Woods Open next Thursday at Rancho Bernardo Inn. And while not too many people have compared Augusta National to RBN, I will say that when we went out there, it was like Augusta green and lush.
They're
The
beautiful.
greens were smooth and fast. Not quite as fast as Augusta National, but really, really good shape. I think everybody who signed up for the tournament, and thank you so much, everybody, for selling out the Ben & Woods Open in just minutes last week. Going to be very, very pleasantly surprised at the course conditions at our RBN. This rain has helped a lot of our golf courses, and RBN has taken advantage. Best shape I've seen it in many, many years.
Our
Really
buddy,
nice.
Sports Brain, just played it, and he goes, "You got to tell him to cut the rough." He goes, "The rough is like
It's lush
right now because of the rain. I mean, everything's growing like a weed out there." So, no, excited to see you guys next week and do all this all over again.
First, though, we're all going to be out on Saturday at Senior Grubbies. That's tomorrow for our watch party, Carlsbad, 377 Carlsbad Village Drive. It starts with a live broadcast. Chris Ello and I are going to get you started from 1 to 3, and then join everybody to watch the game. The Aztecs taking on Florida Atlantic, and while you're there, specials including $2 tacos, $12 beer buckets with 4 beers per bucket. How much is that per beer?
That's $3 per beer.
$3 per beer
Is that right?
tomorrow. Yep, correct.
Can't beat that.
At Senior Grubbies in Carlsbad. They get great menus, build your own burritos, lots of different stuff.
I'm
Definitely going to eat something when I'm there.
I'm going to drink Sprite.
You need to back off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm getting a little, 2 nights in a row I hit the bottle, which is a lot for me. So I was on staycation. That's what you do.
You do.
That's what
You had a
do
good
on
time.
Sundays.
You
I had a great
definitely
time.
enjoyed yourself. But I'd love to see as many tier ones out there, especially the North County ones who can't make it down for some of our other events. This is a great chance to meet all your favorites from 97.3 The Fan.
I heard
as we are out at Senior Grubbies.
Our old hillbilly pal Foster is going to be there too. He's going to be hanging
Very
out.
convenient.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Big Aztecs guy himself. And yeah, would love to have as many of you guys out there, man. And let's rage together and root for that 1.5 point favorites.
Yeah, they are favorites. The 5-seeded Aztecs against the 9th-seeded Owls of Florida Atlantic, a school. I was reading about their coach. I'm trying to remember what his name is again. Anyway, he was a longtime assistant, bounced around different schools, and he got this offer. He's like a guy, like an old family friend, had become the athletic director at Florida Atlantic, and he calls him up and offers him the job, and he goes, it's a head coaching job, Division I. I got to take it.
Yeah.
He goes down. He hadn't seen the school, so he goes down to sign his contract, and he looks at the gym. Kind of a dump, like 2,000 seats. Looks like a pretty kind of a mediocre high school gymnasium. Looks at the practice facilities and says to his wife, I've committed career suicide by taking this job.
I made a terrible mistake.
I've made a terrible job. And she said to him, no, you made your decision. Now you have to make it work. And he has turned Florida Atlantic now into a Final Four team. They got a new practice facility. Obviously, this is going to help with recruiting, putting this school on the map. Now the question is whether he'll get some big offers, whether he wants to leave or try to stick around with Florida Atlantic and turn it into like his program, like Mark Few did at Gonzaga, and stay around for many, many years. But he'll certainly have the opportunity. Big schools will come calling.
That's a pretty cool story. And like they say, next to every great man is a great woman, and it was her brilliant guidance that has him now in the Final Four. Yeah, absolutely. All right, there she is. All right, let's try to give a little credit to mine.
Did you recommend that he take this job when it was presented to him? What was your advice?
Adam Klug? Yes, hands down. Adam Klug.
It's her favorite human being alive, besides Jake Cronenworth. Did you hear her scream in our broadcast yesterday when somebody just mentioned Jake Cronenworth? She was like,
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Dusty May, by the way, is the name of the coach at Florida.
Dusty May.
Dusty May.
All right.
Head coach of the Owls.
Well, I would say I'm, rooting for the guy, but I'm not. So
we're rooting for Dutch.
Want to see him lose?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, and then he'll probably go somewhere to a bigger school. That's a cool story, though. It's a good story.
All right, Eno Saris is going to join us. He's going to be our normal Thursday guy, but we had our opening day festivities yesterday, so Eno moves back a day, and then we'll slide into his regular slot the rest of the season with our weekly. Do we still call it? It's the Smart Baseball,
super polished, to be named Smart Baseball weekly segment with Eno Saris
is coming up next on San Diego's #1.
We have to get to our
sports station. Yes, it is time for our financial minute here on the Fan.
We did not do this on purpose, Padre fans. I promise you. Maybe we just take it out of rotation anyway, just delete it. But it's weird.
It's a good song, but it's
a
Charlie
good
Blackmon's
song, but it's Charlie Blackmon, a.k.a. Ted Williams, a.k.a. Tyrus Cobb, Rogers Hornsby.
But only against one team.
Only against us. We should sign him. Go get him. Trade for him.
Just so he can't play against us.
Yeah, and just set him.
Even if he hits 0, at least you're not having to face him.
It's like opportunity. Like it's opportunity cost. Yeah, he's not hitting anything for us, but he's not hitting
I
600
wonder if that's ever
against
happened.
us.
You ever sign a guy just so you
Just
don't
sit him
have
on
to
the bench.
face him anymore?
Genius.
Who's the other one? Jan Gomes.
Murders the Padres.
Just owns the Padres.
German Marquez just went to double-digit wins against the San Diego Padres. So there you go, man. It's just a weird game.
See, now, these are not the kind of stats, I think, though, that Eno Saris cares about. That's random noise in the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Eno can do better than that. We will talk with our friend from The Athletic right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Got a couple of issues in the North County, northbound side of the 15 before Miramar Way. Crash involving a pickup truck that is now over the right shoulder. Eastbound 78 just before Sycamore. We have reports of some metal debris in the 2 left lanes. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's go out to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline as we welcome back for another season on Ben and Woods. Great Eno Saris from The Athletic is with us. The 97.3 The Fan. Happy baseball season. Not the happiest of starts for us here in San Diego, Eno, but we're still glad that baseball is back.
Yeah, it was a tough first game, I guess.
It's the air spiraling out of the balloon is the tweet that I sent last night. Just That's exactly how it felt watching, CJ Crone drive in a week's worth of runs, against your vaunted pitching staff. But hey, it is what it is. 161 to go. Before we get into some baseball stuff, I'm looking at something on your Twitter. Did you get a beer and a sandwich? We have a beer, Tier 1 Pale Ale. We've sent you some before. I know you enjoyed it. Did you get a beer and a sandwich named after you,
Yeah.
Dude.
We had quite the event last night at Other Half Brewing where they debuted a sandwich called the Knuckleball that I worked on developed for about a year.
A year?
Yes, we were just emailing each other back and forth about sandwiches for a year.
What is on the knuckleball? Not any
this
actual
is-
knuckle, I hope.
It is.
It
It's pork
is.
knuckle.
Really? There's knuckle.
Yeah.
A knuckle
It's-
sandwich,
but-
if you will.
We've cut it. We've cooked it down almost like an oxtail, where it all comes off the bone,
Okay.
and then put it into a cutlet and put some matbucha sauce on it, which is like a tangy Israeli tomato sauce. It was so good.
With watercress and arugula, mustard vinaigrette, shallots, and pickled onions.
I can see that.
It looks
well.
really,
I mean, if
really
you follow Eno, he's famous for rating his sandwiches as well.
good. When he makes his sandwiches at home, I'm like, me are the worst. Your ham sandwich with American cheese on it, he goes very, very big. And the beer looks really good too. What was that?
A hazy pale ale called "Staring into the Shift," and the label's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. It was a great beer. We kicked it, and now there's just a few cans floating around in a couple cities.
How many did you have yesterday? Because I probably matched you.
No comment.
Well, man, it was good to turn on. Is that you? That's all right. It was good to turn on the television, of course, while we were waiting for our delayed start and watch some baseball. Tuned in the game that was on yesterday. Matty V was calling it. Yankees, Garrett Cole against who the hell were they playing?
Giants.
The Giants. That's right. Logan Webb and Garrett Cole. How many combined strikeouts between the two teams? It was like 30 yesterday.
22 between the two starters.
It was incredible, but is that what they were looking for when they made all these rule changes? Or are those just two really good pitchers?
I mean, they're definitely looking for more balls in play, and I guess we saw some scores on opening day that suggest that maybe the offensive environment is going to be higher this year. But directly attacking what happens at the plate with strikeouts, they didn't really do anything about that.
Correct.
And I mean, they did say that they were going to maybe do more sticky stuff enforcement, but the real pressure is the velo. I mean, I know Logan Webb didn't demonstrate that, but Garrett Cole was pumping 98s and just had that gas. And when somebody throws that hard, you have to start so early. You have to start your swing so early. That's what makes you look so stupid on the breaking balls, you know? So, you know, it really does come down to velo, and I don't know what you can do about it.
I do think, though, that the rules made a difference, even on the first game. And while the Padres game was definitely not the shortest game of the day, it featured 27 strikeouts between the two teams. But just the fact that they moved faster, it was kind of a slog of a game, 7-2, base runners, you know, but it didn't take that much time. It was under 3 hours. They still played it in, despite deep counts, a lot of pitches, a lot of strikeouts, and it still finished in 2 hours and 56 minutes. And I don't mind a strikeout if the pitchers are getting the ball and throwing the ball, and then you move on to the next one. It's those strikeouts that, you know, take 4 minutes for the batter and then take forever for the next batter that I think that some of these new rules, you know, really do actually address.
Yeah, I mean, there's disagreement about whether or not we actually want shorter games. People like baseball, like, do they want it to be shorter? But the stuff that we're cutting out was not, I don't think, compelling. Sometimes it can be compelling. The Robert Suarez at bat against Bryce Harper, that was super compelling, and it took really long. But the average strikeout is not that one. You know, the average plate appearance is not that one. And so I think we're taking away a lot of just standing around looking at each other.
Yeah, the in the WBC, of course, the Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout matchup was the best, some of the best theater that you'll ever see in the game of baseball, and you know that was every one of those was a violation. I think they said somebody actually clocked and said every one of these would have been a violation. But yeah, you can't take away that drama. Now they did not make any tweaks to it, right? This is going to be.
Rob Manfred said they did, but
I said they did, but no tweaks.
No, but the tweaks were just about when to start the clock, and it was about more about enforcement. It was more about it codifying some things about, like, you know, if the batter has a big swing or something, you can give him a second. You know, like, it was more about how the clock starts.
Do you think, though, by the time we all play, you know, watch 162 games of our home team, and God only knows of how many other games we watch that are, you know, all day baseball sitting around the house, you know, do you think by the time we get to the playoffs, that moment that many people are tweeting about, you know, we really need to just start this in the 7th, where the moment gets bigger and bigger and bigger? Do you think that we'll kind of forget about it by then? We'll be so used to it.
Yeah, you mean just the clock in general?
No,
used to this clock?
We'll be used to the clock, but many, you know, a lot of people, pundits are saying, you know, and people saying, man, I want those big moments in the playoffs, and, you know, a guy steps out and adjusts, and they're not going to do that, and that's going to be a bummer. Do you think we'll even notice, though, when the playoffs get here?
Yeah, I think we might. There are people who just sort of swoop in and only watch the playoffs.
That's true. That is
so
true.
We're going to have some people who are like, what's this clock thing? You know?
That is true.
And then, and I think there's at least a friendly ear around baseball to, like, should we turn this off in the playoffs?
Yes.
And so it might be interesting to see what our first playoffs are like, and if after those first playoffs they turn the clock off in the playoffs. So.
Was it? I think it was Max Scherzer who had an interesting thought that was worthy of discussion. He said, maybe we don't need it at all unless games are starting to slow down, and then the umpire can say, like a golfer in a slow group gets put on the clock, hey, you guys are taking too much time, we're now turning on the pitch clock. But if pitchers are moving and, you know, in general, pitching, you know, playing ready baseball, essentially, do we actually need that clock every single game?
No, we need the clock. He's a pitcher he's trying to sell you on. He's trying to sell you on a bridge in Manhattan. This is, of course, the pitchers are going to take as long as they're allowed to take. That's what they've proven to us over the last few years. So they need the clock.
Well, the one thing, we're talking to Enos Harris here on Ben and Woods this morning. The one thing that was up yesterday, stolen bases. You see that? 21 bags yesterday. The 30 teams last time combined for just 6 steals in their first games last year. So the bigger bases, the pickoff rule, that's fun. I like seeing steals. Stealing bags is fun. It's exciting. It makes you excited as a fan, unless it's happening to you over and over. But I think it's pretty cool, and that's a pretty good number on day one.
Yeah, I think that is a fun part of the game, and I think it shows that some teams are being even more aggressive than others on the base paths. And I like that because it's a different way to win at baseball. I like baseball best when there are different ways to win. I don't like it when it's everyone is like, okay, we just need OBP and slugging. We just need these big dudes that are going to take a bunch of swings. You know, like I like that there's different ideas for building teams and winning baseball.
Smart Baseball segment with Eno Saris here on 97.3 The Fan. And Eno, you came out with your Stuff Plus rankings this week at The Athletic, if anyone wants to check that out. You've explained Stuff Plus to us before, but, you know, a velocity, movement on pitches from starters. The Padres aren't the stuffiest of teams, you know,
or the plusiest.
They've obviously got some good arms, but is that a concern that the Padres aren't necessarily near the top of your rankings? I think Yu Darvish had the best Stuff Plus, followed by Blake Snell, and then Joe Musgrove was a little bit down the list.
Yeah, it is interesting. We used Stuff Plus to make projections, and those projections had park factors and other factors in them. In fact, some on the field results. And when I summed up the Padres starting rotation, they had the lowest projected ERA. So I don't know if that's partially the park effect or what's going on there, but it did sum up to great effect. And I think one of the reasons is that the back end has improved. So I know, Snell went out there and, he did a little bit of the Snell thing where he was out early after a lot of pitches. But he was good when he was in. And I think that the back end is going to come and meet that. I think Seth Lugo is a good starting pitcher. I think Adrian Morejon can do 2 or 3 innings at a time and be good. I think that Nick Martinez is a good back end guy. So I think they've really improved their back end. And, it's one of those things with the Padres where they don't maybe have that Garrett Cole, but they have a good pitcher they're going to put out there every night. So I think that's why you can sort of take away, okay, well, game 1 didn't work, but our game 2 start is pretty good too.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it is weird to start the season with your back end, and that's just unfortunately the cards that they were dealt with. Yu Darvish and the WBC, fiasco, I guess for him. He wanted to throw more, and Bob wanted him to throw more. And then, of course, Joe Darvish and the kettlebell on the toe. And here we are. And I think I was a little tough on Blake Snell this morning. I was a little hungover, and I was just bummed. I need to do, and I've been in his camp since he got here. I really like the dude. I do.
Well, you weren't alone. There was some booze.
Yeah, there were some boos yesterday. He has the ability to pitch out of jams sometimes.
Manny told us to, though.
Yeah, Manny did tell us to boo. He did. He said he likes it. But yeah, it's a tough watch. It's a tough watch, and I legitimately thought pitch clock will help him get the ball fired. He doesn't like it. He said he doesn't like it. So maybe
for me, it's just it's just the command that sometimes goes, and he's a good pitcher, but I think to me, the two sort of mistakes or the two worst takeaways from the game, one is that there were a couple relievers out there that gave up a bunch of runs that you would have thought could be part of a win.
Yes.
You kind of have your winning bullpen and your losing bullpen, and I don't know if they just put out the ones that they're going to put out in losses, or if they thought those guys were going to be better. So that was a little bit concerning because you want to have some depth. At least you have guys like Snell that aren't going to go long. You have to have somebody who's ready to step in for innings, And then the other one was the Soto defense. I don't like to put too much on one play, but for him, he's projected to be he's the favorite for the NL MVP, Juan Soto. And he's favored by odds, favored by projections. But part of that projection is that his defense returns to normal. He was probably his worst self defensive wise last year. And that's why just one ball like that goes, oh no, are you going to be like, is this going to be a thing in left field this year? Or are you going to be, a good defender? I think that it's going to mean a little bit. I don't know if it means everything, but it's one thing that I was like, what if that part doesn't come back?
Yeah, I think we all were. And then, I started thinking, I watched David Dahl later go for a ball down the right field line and just couldn't get his footing, didn't get a great read on it as well. It was a crappy night out at Petco. First of all, we were all there.
Wet.
Yeah, it was so wet. I mean, and it poured rain when they started the game as well. They had to bring out the rakes and everything else. So I saw it on Twitter. It made sense to me. Somebody goes, hey man, look, I'm actually fine with Soto not barreling on a wet field to catch a pop
Mhm.
fly. And I went, okay, fine. Make that same play tomorrow.
Rather have
Yeah.
him for 162.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Especially with a dinged up, allegedly a dinged up oblique. Didn't look particularly comfortable at the plate either yesterday. So listen, one game we flush it, we'll be fine. But yeah, it was just kind of a crap. It was kind of a crap night all around. We've all been so excited to see this lineup go out there and do it. And Xander, hey man, Xander made a really nice introduction and welcome to San Diego. He was great.
Yeah, it's an amazing team to have $300 million guys out there.
It sure is.
and
you get like four hits.
You know,
Yeah, right.
I don't know how much you caught of Shohei Ohtani's start. He was already number 5 in your Stuff Plus rankings. I know some people were saying it looks like his pitching, maybe velocity and movement even ticking up a bit from last
God.
year. Putting him maybe in a contention for a Cy Young Award as well as an MVP and everything else that he does already. Did you see much of that last night?
Yeah, he looks great, and all through the WBC, he's been looking great. I know he's been working hard at adding some movement to that sinker. His fastball isn't great by movement, but he throws it like 100, so it's still a pretty good pitch. And so if he's adding movement to that sinker, that'll help him as he loses velo over his career. But yeah, this year I think if he wins the Cy, and he seems like he might be a favorite, I think Garrett Cole is going to be great too. But if he wins the Cy, then he has to win the MVP, right? Like
100%.
you've got Cy Young winner.
He should
who
always be
also
the MVP. He should. It just
Yeah,
should always be him. As long as he does both, to even an average level, he should be the MVP. There's no one more valuable than that guy. No one. He saves you an entire roster spot. It's the value that the projections for him are insane. I saw a pitch yesterday. I wanted to ask you about. Now it was a ball. It was down and away. Hunter Green for the Reds threw a pitch 105.3 miles an hour. Is that right?
Wow.
Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Down
105.3.
Down and away. I mean, but it looked like a missile. 105.3 miles.
I thought I saw in spring
Or
training.
maybe 103.5, but it was one of the two. I think it was 105.
No, I saw 105.3, but they also were questioning maybe there was a glitch because the
gun?
spin rate was wrong or something on the gun on that one. How often does that
okay.
happen?
He's got a big arm, though.
In terms of mistakes that are made on some of those readings of velocity.
We started using spring training data for the first time in Stuff Plus, and I realized that there's a more errors than we think of, because in spring training they didn't wash or like clean up the data as much as they do for regular games. And so I saw the difference between the unwashed data, which is they kind of go in and find all the mistakes, and there's ways to compute what that spin rate would have been, or they kind of clean up the data. And I saw from spring training how dirty that data can be. So yeah, I would say it happens a handful of times per game that something's just mistracked. They clean that up after the game. So yeah, it may not have been a right read, but if anybody could throw 105.3, it is Hunter Green.
It's amazing, man.
We look forward to your regular Thursday appearances throughout the season. Appreciate you holding for a Friday since we had all of our opening day festivities, but we'll slot you in. We have our golf tournament next week, which could be a little weird as well, but eventually we will definitely get you on the Thursday rotation, and looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Congrats on the knuckle sandwich, by the way.
That's great.
Saris with us, brought to you by 7 Mile Casino on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. There was a flub during that interview.
Did I say Joe?
It wasn't
Darvish?
me.
And
I
of
heard
course,
it.
Joe Darvish and the kettlebell on the toe.
Who is Joe Darvish?
Joe Darvish?
You really are hungover,
This
aren't
is
you?
a rough one, man.
All right, the good news
Joe
is
Darvish.
get yourself cleaned up before Bob Melvin joins us at
all right,
9:35.
get it together.
We got the Rydell Report coming up next. Final hour of the week in a moment on 97.3 The Fan. To give the Padres an A for their off the field opening day productions. I thought it was pretty spectacular. The only thing, the complaint that I saw was the lines getting in were a little rough yesterday.
They were long.
I mean,
They're more than a little rough.
you have 45,000 people. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit more time to get everybody in. I don't know what the solution is, though. There were a lot of early arrivers. Actually, I walked in late, and it was easy to get in the bottom of the second inning.
Parachute in, zip line to your seat from one of the high rises above Petco Park. Problem solved.
There you go. Very easy.
Very easy to do.
But I saw lines waiting to get in right at the beginning at all the entrances, but there were still lines to get in, 25, 30 minutes before the game.
So you really saw people complaining about a team that, this isn't about the Padres and how great they are, but you're surprised that a team that went to the NLCS and spent $300 billion and are picked to win the World Series, people were actually surprised that the lines were long?
No, it wasn't bad, like in the concourse. Like once the game got started, it wasn't that bad.
It was the getting in?
It was getting in, and I heard that there was a system error at one point.
Which, by the way,
it was in particular at home plate where the member entrances, there's the 8 or 10 home plate entrances, and then there's right next to that is the member entrance. That was if you walked in from that side of like Imperial Avenue, the member line stretched all the way down towards like Lolita's. I was like, good God, there was a system error or something.
I mean, it's when it, great pun here, when it rains, it pours. And we talked about it on our show yesterday. The fact that crew had to put together an opening day plan that they had ready to execute down to the minute and the second, and then had to say at the last minute, oh, never mind. You guys have about 24 hours to put together a completely new plan and scrap that 6-month plan you've been working on. I would imagine things are going to get a little haywire.
The team store was really hopping. I saw lines, over 100 people long before the game to get in and get some of that merch. So they must have done a brisk business on opening day. Now, did you eat anything at the ballpark?
I had a pretzel to soak up some of the rum punch that I had imbibed. Hannah had a hot dog, a Friar Frank. You also had a pretzel. You also had a churro, and you also had peanut M&Ms. So I only had
it's a carby sort of day.
I had a water. I had a water, and I had the pretzel. Yeah, and that's it.
So you had a kind of a prison meal. So bread and water.
Yes, I did feel a bit like I was in prison yesterday.
You can do better than that.
Me and the warden out taking out a game, as I so lovingly call her. You got that is your normal.
Charisma says they told everyone to save your tickets to Apple Wallet, which I think is a new feature on MLB Ballpark. You used to just get the barcode right now. Now you can save it to your Apple Wallet like you can with a boarding pass or anything like that. And then in case of connectivity issues, and then when it was time to scan your tickets, they were saying the system can't scan.
They tried. They had to tap ours several times to get it to click through. So, hey, man, the technology world, while it's great for most things,
always evolving.
When something like that goes down, I mean, I remember at Petco one time when all the credit card machines went down. That was insane. That was like bedlam almost when that happened. And they don't take cash.
They're cashless now.
They're cashless,
so you got one way to pay for things.
It's just I felt so bad for him, man. I did, just having to revamp the entire thing at a moment's notice. So other than that, man, the opening day, other than the final score, it was spectacular. It was beautiful. People were in a great mood. People were dressed to the nines in full gear. Everyone was so excited to be there, jovial. It was awesome. It was such a great day. And then the game started, and it wasn't, but that's okay. You got a bunch more of these to go.
We got the skipper, Bob Melvin, coming up in 30 minutes at the bottom of the hour. Right now, though, let's check and see what we've missed so far with today's Rindle Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest. Welcome to the Rindle Report
with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh,
All right. All right. It's the Reiner Report brought to you by the San Diego Sockers. The Lords of Indoor are on the march to the Ron Newman Cup playoffs. Get your tickets today at sdsockers.com. Big match tomorrow night at Pechanga Arena. We will start off in Major League Baseball, and I had a story about Shohei Ohtani calling his own pitches, which is great, but I was actually reminded about another story involving the Angels. Did you guys see the Angels a couple days ago went out? It came out that they're not sending their radio broadcasts.
I did see that
on the road,
like during the pandemic. Like it never ended.
The radio guys
There
have
are
to call it remotely.
2 teams that will not be sending their broadcasters on the road with the team. The other team is the Toronto Blue Jays, but I think they scrapped their radio broadcast altogether. They simulcast TV and radio.
The Blue Jays did.
Yes.
So if you tune into, let's say it's Mud, you hear Mud and Dawn on the radio.
Right.
Radio calls are different than TV
Yeah,
calls.
not the same.
Very different.
Now you probably know, obviously you're on the radio as well, so maybe you modify
Maybe you
your
do it a
TV
little
call
bit.
a little bit, but that's not a great solution either. But it is really disappointing to see that the Angels broadcasters, the radio guys,
Poverty, dude.
are going to just be calling it off of TV. You can't give the flavor of a game when all you can see is what the director at that time is choosing to show you.
It's not just a little bit different radio and TV. It's like polar opposites.
Sure,
because
absolutely.
if you watch a big moment on television, especially like you see it on the playoffs with the national broadcasters all the time, if there's a big home run, they'll say, and it's gone or whatever. And then they don't say a word for like 30 seconds. Let the visual speak for itself. Radio, you got to paint the picture
And
for
it's
him.
going back. It's in the right field wall, and he's going back, and it's gone.
Soto going nuts as he rounds second
Right,
base,
yeah,
like
exactly.
everything.
The bummer is for those guys that are having to call radio games sitting in a cubicle or an office somewhere watching a monitor again.
Artie Moreno
Because
said
Artie
it was
Moreno-
all because of the economics of it. They didn't really want to comment any beyond that. The team didn't, but somebody broke down for The Athletic, or The Athletic spoke to an industry expert who talked about the finances.
What it would cost.
Said the expert said they budgeted between $185,000 and $200,000 per season for all expenses related to radio broadcasters' travel. The cost typically accounts for $350 a night in a hotel room, along with $70 to $100 per diem. That covers daily food or miscellaneous expenses. Total that up over 81 games, and that's your cost. But it's not a problem for 28 other teams,
like the Reds. The Pirates send their guys.
Yeah. Royals.
I do think that sometimes we get caught up in the fact that, well, if you're going to pay $189 million on your payroll, it seems really chintzy to then not spend an extra $200,000 to send your radio broadcasters on the road. And it does. However, I also
Colonel,
believe that,
don't do this, Colonel.
a dollar's a dollar, no matter how much you're spending.
God.
It's
I
not
thought
nothing.
we'd
It's not nothing.
retired. I thought Colonel Budget had retired. Billy likes to keep the money on the field. Why do I have to pay $1 for
Billy
soda?
likes to keep
Where's
the money.
my soda money?
Where's my
ball
soda?
line.
Where's the $1 I pay for soda? Where's that going?
I think though, if this is weird, Artie Moreno was going to sell the team probably
Yes.
because he didn't like paying for things like this. He sounds like after so many years, he got tired of, I got to write a check for what? And this, I'm just going to sell the team.
You should have known a team.
Then he changed his mind and said, no, I want to keep the team. So it's disappointing for him to go right back to the, oh no, I don't want to spend on this. Well, then sell the team. This is part of the expense of owning a team. You may not like it, but if you want to be a baseball owner, a first-class baseball owner, you send your radio broadcasters on the road to give their listeners, your fans, the best experience they can get when they're not in the ballpark, not traveling with the team.
It's
But you're not
absolutely
doing
absurd. Absolutely absurd. It's just night and day.
All right, we'll move on. In the NBA, the other night, the Sacramento Kings broke their playoff drought and clinched a playoff spot. It's been the first time in 16 years that the Kings have made the playoffs.
Might be the first time in 5 years we've ever mentioned the Sacramento Kings on the Ben and Woods program.
I'm trying to think if we ever have
mentioned the Sacramento Kings.
It's possible that in 5 years that we have not. I mean, I guess at some point I was probably doing some Lakers talk, and they've played the Kings on a day, and so they got a mention at some point. But I do not remember a lot of Kings talk on this program.
I think it was over the weekend. They got within one more victory of getting it. They lost a couple. They clinched the spot. They are in the playoffs. Yeah, 16-year hiatus from the postseason.
Those were back was that back like in the Chris Webber day? Okay. Those teams were fun as hell to watch.
Yeah, beginning the early
2007?
2000s, they had that 7-game series against the Lakers where even I admit they got a little rooks to the refs at the end of that series. Yeah, Lakers had to come back from like 25 in that last game or whatever it was to win and advance to the finals. But since then, they've just been miserable, terrible.
We've talked about the playoff droughts in the past for a long time. It was the Seattle Mariners. Yep. They ended theirs in October of last year. They hadn't made the playoffs since 2001. So then it was the Kings. They held the title for all of 5 months?
Few months,
a few months.
Do you have any guesses on who is now the leader in the clubhouse as far as
I don't know the answer to this
playoff droughts?
Let's play 20 questions.
I feel like it's surprising that there was an even NBA team on the list. They got 20 playoff teams every year now. I bet it's not another NBA team.
Is it an NHL team?
Well, it's actually 2 teams.
Okay.
They are tied.
Is one
with
of them
11 years,
an
and
NHL
one
team?
of them is an NHL team.
11 years. So the last time they would have made the playoffs would have been 2012.
We're not going to get that one. I'll just tell you, it's the Buffalo Sabres.
The Sabres.
I was going to get that. I was definitely that was my next guess out of my mouth. I was just about to say the Buffalo Sabres, Paul.
And then the other one is not an NBA team, not a Major League Baseball team, obviously. NFL.
Houston Texans.
NFL, yes. Houston Texans, no.
The New York Football Jets.
That is it.
Yeah.
Who got his sports license today? Me. I did.
This article was written.
Was that the Mark Sanchez butt fumble year 2012? Is that the last time they were in the playoffs?
Fourth, it says on this list that was written before the playoffs last season because it says the Philadelphia Phillies. But then after that would be the Detroit Tigers, 8 seasons, tied with the Angels, 8 seasons. The Royals, 7 seasons. The Pirates, 7 seasons. The Rangers, 6 seasons. Charlotte Hornets, 6 seasons. Dude, if you go more than 3 years in the NBA without making the playoffs,
yeah, you're pretty bad.
That's really bad, especially
really
with
bad.
the lottery draft system. If you don't make the playoffs, you're going to get a really good player.
I feel like the Rockies are going to be getting somewhere on this list soon.
Not if they
not in the top
unless
10.
they keep playing like they did last night, man.
Not in the top 10.
Not in the top 10.
And then finally, my last story here: a man is going to prison because he called his ex 815 times over a 48-hour span. 44-year-old guy in Maryland.
24 hours in a day. How many days, Paul?
I got the math here.
Okay, good.
He's facing multiple years, nonstop calls. 850 times in just 2 days, so 48 hours. That would be 17 times an hour, which would be once every 3.5 minutes. And that's if he stayed awake all 48 hours. So once every 3.5 minutes, you figure if he's sleeping a few hours at least, that's literally call, hang up, call, hang up, call, hang up, call, hang up, call.
Why did it get to this point? I mean, if someone did that to me 3 times, it just blocked, report for spam, and that number never comes through again. How would you let someone call you 800 times without doing anything about it?
I don't know the history there between them.
What is he going to prison for, jail for?
Harassment?
Stalking, harassment.
Not paying his phone bill.
It says here he also, prior to that, had sent thousands of text messages and social media posts over the course of a few months. He used social media on Twitter and Facebook to call this woman out and embarrass her. And
crazy, dude.
That's just
scary, man. I mean, think if you have a daughter, that's terrifying stuff. Terrifying stuff. 800 times. Bro, you need serious help.
But you can block phone calls now. You really can.
Yeah.
I mean, unless this was like to a landline or something.
Who knows?
Maybe
They
she
just
didn't know she could.
They
They
just
have-
unplug it.
I mean,
turn off your phone.
if you're this is an obsession at this point, and if you're obsessed with something, you'll find a way.
Find a way.
And I mean, they have Google phone numbers
Yeah,
now.
that's
Maybe
true.
he just made
Oh, dude.
1,000 Google accounts.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's absolutely true.
for all we know, there's a AI system that can create emails for you really quickly.
Yeah,
and,
phone numbers.
you know what I mean?
It's just be less creepy out there, please.
Yeah, that's the bigger message.
Just don't be creepy.
There are other fish in the sea, but maybe not for you.
Not for
Maybe
him.
not for him. I wouldn't want him anywhere near any fish. Paulie.
O'Reilly
He
report.
doesn't deserve fish.
Fish. Salmon.
Keep
Yeah.
it.
I know it's a divisive topic between this couple, a salmon and a salmon hater,
It's disgusting. Cat food.
full of omega-3
Very healthy for you.
fatty acids.
Absolutely. It's hideous.
Not even like on a bagel with some cream cheese.
No, especially not.
Smoked salmon.
My wife told me this morning she wants to open a bagel shop.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
We could use better bagels in all of San Diego, really. We don't have enough quality bagels in town.
Hannah's Bagels.
We have donuts. You know, VG's is fine. We got some good donuts, but bagels is lacking a little bit.
It's there. I mean, you can only have them every now and then because I'd be a whale if you owned a bagel shop.
I used
A
to
bigger whale.
pretend like donuts, like bagels were the healthy version of donuts.
Yeah, hey, I'm fine today. I'm just eating a bagel and I've slathered it
it's
in
not
cream cheese
it's
and
not
butter.
all sugary or anything.
Right.
It's the healthy version.
I actually get mine with raisins, so I'm extra healthy.
so disappointed when they taught us about carbs and how they're really just sugar in another name, even though it's not sweet. That bagel is not as healthy for you as you thought it
No,
was.
I
at
don't
some
know
point.
that anyone thinks that it is.
No,
Even
when
if
I
it's
was
whole wheat.
when I was growing up, a bagel was definitely a healthy breakfast option, and now it is no longer
Healthier.
considered a healthy breakfast option.
All right.
They're taking things away from us. No one likes that. But
Wrap
everything
it up.
always comes back around. So at some point, donuts are going to be health food, and it's great. All right, we will come back. Bob Melvin, the manager of the Padres, going to be joining us at the top of the hour. Look ahead, tonight's matchup, game 2 of the season and the series against the Colorado Rockies, all after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. All right, don't forget last-minute plans, but you can join 97.3 The Fan tomorrow at Senor Grubby's in Carlsbad at 377 Carlsbad Village Drive. It all starts at 1 o'clock with a live broadcast. I'm going to be there along with the Aztec himself, Chris Ello, getting you ready for the Final Four matchup against Florida Atlantic. And then the watch party, Woods is going to be there. I think most of the other hosts are going to be stopping by so you can get some specials there as well, food specials, $2 tacos, $12 beer buckets with 4 beers per bucket. We did the math. Definitely $3 per beer.
Let's say beer.
Tomorrow at Senor Grubby's in Carlsbad. Don't buy any for Woods, though. He doesn't want them
drinking Sprite.
He's going to be on a teetotaling Saturday tomorrow.
Until the Ben and Woods Open on Thursday.
You want to make your pick? Since our opening day picks went so well, should we do a Final Four pick?
Oh, my God.
For the Aztecs? No one picked the Rockies yesterday on this show.
I said we were going to lose. Remember that?
I don't think anyone
Earlier
really
in the
said
show,
that.
I said, don't be surprised if we lose.
You said 7-1 victory.
Yeah. You totally said
But
7-1.
I changed my mind
victory.
later in the show, but earlier I said we're probably.
Does anyone want to pick San Diego State to lose just to talk it out of existence? Because I don't. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be another fairly low-scoring game. I've got 66-61 Aztecs tomorrow.
Win by 6.
That would be the under, by the way. 132 is the over-under number. That would be over then.
I'll say
132.
69-63.
Okay. A 6-point victory for the Aztecs. Bally?
I'll say Aztecs 64, FAU 56.
Ooh, another under
57.
60. That defense continues to dominate, keeping another opponent
I think
under
it'll be
60.
a little closer. Never in doubt. A little bit closer. A few late free throws.
I think we'll know a lot early. If Florida Atlantic comes out and bricks a couple of threes in that big stadium and the Aztecs have hands in their faces all over the place, I think you'll know San Diego State's in decent shape. If Florida Atlantic makes a few and gets comfortable and gets in a rhythm, then San Diego State will be in for a very tough game against that team. So that's what you're looking for, is the 3-point accuracy early in the game for Florida Atlantic. Meanwhile, tonight we got game 2 of the season here on 97.3 The Fan. In-season Sammy pregame show at 5:40. Jesse and Tony first pitch at 6:40. As Kyle Freeland, the left-hander, goes for the Rockies against Nick Martinez, making his first start back in the starting rotation. Now, he started 10 games last year. Wasn't quite as good as he was in the bullpen, but he is now, got some experience at the World Baseball Classic, strong spring, and I think he is fired up. He's going to bring some intensity to the mound, because he always does.
He beat the crap out of the dugout last year. Remember that? That was a lot of fun. The dugout ceiling. So, pretty tough lefty. So
that's Freeland, but Nick Martinez also brings some intensity as well.
Nick brings some I'm losing it. Nick brings some Martinez, by the way. That's it for me, guys. You guys enjoy Bob. Tell him I said hello and I just overdid it. Freeland, these are basically 2 lunatics out of the mound tonight, squaring off. But I like our right-handed lineup a lot, and it's seemingly a little more scary than our left-handed lineup right now. So I say that after one game, by the way. One game.
I would like to see a home run. I was a little disappointed the Padres didn't get one. Oh, Nelly in the first game. Someone still has to hit the first home run of the season for the Padres.
Yeah. Who's it going to be? I mean, Xander's pretty locked in. So he looked so good yesterday. It's still somebody in line behind me said, oh, that's that new guy, Xavier. Oh, yep.
The X-Man.
The X-Man, Xavier Bogaerts. Here he is on our home field. I think who gets a bomb tonight? Manny Yaks one tonight. Friday night, City connects. It's over. Manny, that's my call. My pick to click.
I tend to agree with you.
I can't agree with you. You got to pick somebody
I have to pick someone else?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go way off the board and say Ha-Sung Kim.
Okay, beautiful. Paulie. Boomstick is out there.
I'll take Xander.
Okay, Xander, Ha-Sung Kim, Manny Machado.
Just barreled balls yesterday.
Just so locked in already. Love it. So happy he's here.
I love those line drives that go perfectly through the gap.
Yes.
And you're like, is this, a softer ball, like one of those outfielders would catch up to it and cut it off, and it just keeps going like, damn it. And they got to
just
go all the way to the wall. Yeah.
Oh,
so
such
good.
You think they're going to cut off, and all of a sudden they have to make that left-hand turn and go back to the
Yeah.
Like from my vantage point, I was down the third baseline, and it looked like they were going directly to cut it off, and then they just had to
So good.
Detour.
So
Go to the
happy
wall.
he's here. So happy he's here. Such a great
I feel
player.
like he's gonna have some triples this season. He
I think
thought
so,
about
too.
it.
He did.
He thought about it. It was 2 outs, though, and he realized doesn't give us really an advantage to get to third base on that one.
Yep.
But he definitely thought about it for a second.
No, we'll talk to Bob Melvin, see about maybe even Xander hitting in the top spot tonight. We'll see what he's got up his sleeve. He
Right.
will not tell us. I'm telling you that.
Manager on the hot seat next
Already
with Ben
0-1.
Woods
Here we go.
on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, that's our first Friar Friday of the season.
Love it.
And on Friar Friday on Ben and Woods, you know what you get. It's the Management Report. And joining us right now in our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline is the manager. He'd be part of management, right? Bob Melvin is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Bob, it's good to have you back on. Welcome back to another season. Sorry about the loss last night, but where you could see the excitement for Padres baseball.
Oh, yes, we can feel it. So, like you said, it was a little disappointing last night, but move on to today and get our first W, hopefully. So appreciate you having me on.
It's our pleasure. You're definitely not on the hot seat just yet. I definitely overdid it yesterday. I wasn't feeling myself this morning, Bob. But no, is there a message? I mean, these guys are pros. All these guys, to a man, they're pros. They know this game and this season is so stinking long. 161 of these regular season games to go. Everybody, I'm assuming, still in very jovial and happy spirits.
Yeah, it's all about the day, right? So, you lost, you move on the next day. You have a win, you move on to the next day. So, it's the great thing about baseball is no matter what happens, you have to post up the next day, and our expectations don't change at all.
What did you think of Blake Snell's performance last night, Bob? I mean, I'm sure you'd take 9 strikeouts against 1 walk from any pitcher any day of the week. But as we've seen with Blake, sometimes that pitch count gets up a little bit higher and doesn't go as deep into the game as you might want him to.
Yeah, just a little bit. When he had to make pitches, he did.
Yep.
So, that's a good thing. You'll see velocities ramp up. Certainly early in the season, we're going to take it a little easier as far as pitch counts go, and really even a little uncomfortable with 93 pitches and 4+. So, the stuff was good. He's going to, get the command a little bit better each and every time out. That's what the early season's about. And, he kept us in the game during his portion.
Talking to Padres skipper Bob Melvin here on Ben and Woods this morning. I watched last night. It couldn't help but hurt my heart for Tapia coming in, giving up 2 bombs back to back. As a human being, you watch it, you're like, yeah, I want to get those outs as a Padres fan, but nobody wants that to be their debut. And, you think about Robert Suarez's debut last night. We all know what kind of season he had. What did you say to him after the game?
You know what? Just pat him on the back when he came out of the game. I'm sure he was stunned. You look at his performance in spring training and basically gave up nothing, was out 5 minutes at a time. He was so efficient. So, you give up a homer and that gets your attention. You give up another one and then you kind of have to collect your thoughts again and get back to doing what you're doing. His command was better after that.
Yep.
We needed 2 innings out of him, which we got last night. So, he'll be better next time out.
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw out any excuses, but the Rockies hit three home runs. They're all wall scrapers. First row, they hit hard, line drives, fine. Matt Carpenter's ball, I was sure was a go-ahead 3-run home run. From your perspective as well, I mean, you had to think that one was gone.
Well, that's a tough part of the park to go out of, especially when it's a little bit cold and a little damp air last night. It was good sound off the bat and you had a good feeling, but I think there were better chances over in the corners like where they hit him out last night. So, yeah, I mean, look, he got a good swing on it. Just, like anything last night, it just didn't seem like it was our day. So that one fell a little bit short, but he put a good swing on it for sure.
So I know where you're not going to tell us, but you've got a lefty on the bump tonight. I liked the Trent Grisham move into – I know it probably makes you very happy to hear that we agree with you, Bob, but we love the Trent Grisham in the leadoff spot last night. And he looks, he looks like he's really turning it around. And I wanted to ask you, with Tatis being out, who do you like at the top of your order, just hypothetically, if there's a lefty on the bump?
No, it'll be Bogarts tonight.
Oh, nice.
So, we're just trying to get, our top righties up there as quickly as you can against the lefty. Trent's going to be leading off quite a bit, especially against righties here. Got us off to a good start with a double. He had a great spring. He's feeling good about himself. Actually has pretty good numbers too. I think he's got 3 home runs off Freeland today too. So he'll be in a little bit more of a production spot farther down. But it's going to look a little different tonight. Cruz is going to be in there. Zokar is going to be in there. And Bogey will lead off tonight.
Yeah, you didn't use your bench at all last night, and obviously a couple of those guys, as you mentioned, Nelson Cruz, Jose Azocar, are going to get a start, so you're going to use everybody. But as you look at how it's kind of constructed, how do you sort of envision the depth being used here?
Yeah, last night if they went to, and they have 3 left-handers in the bullpen, if they went to a lefty, we'd have had some other options. But it was all right-handed last night. We also want to be able to our guys to have we have some faith in them too. But we do have some matchups we'll use over the course of the game. And we like to get everybody in there and involved in the first series. So you'll see a little different complement. You'll probably see Odor and Camposano the next night, and we want to get everybody involved. So I think it's important coming out of spring training when everybody's had a lot of consistent at-bats that they continue to get some at-bats so they don't sit around too long.
I mean, look at this. Breaking news on Ben and Woods this morning, talking to Padres skipper Bob Melvin. Your overarching thoughts on what was, again, a new way to manage yesterday. You have things and you've been working on it in spring training, the pitch clock. How did everybody feel? Did anybody say anything? What were your thoughts as somebody that's played baseball for a long time and managed baseball for a long time? Completely different game now. And how did you feel about it?
Yeah, it's spring training. We got a feel for it. There's obviously a little more intensity and a little more focus on it on the first game, in the regular season. So, your guys get in the box. You're always looking at that clock, make sure they're looking at the hitter, or looking at the pitcher with, before 8 seconds. And you don't want anything, like a strike three to happen in that fashion. So we're all still getting used to it. I mean, baseball's, historically the only timeless game. There's no clock involved, and now all of a sudden there is. So it's a pretty dramatic change. I think early parts of the game, it seemed pretty smooth. We'll see once, you get into the later innings and really important at bats and times when pitchers try to slow things down and times when hitters step out of the box to, gather their thoughts as well in big spots. We'll see how that goes going forward here.
One other change that you didn't really get a chance to work on in the spring because you don't do replay in the Cactus League. I know that they've been asking, you got to make a decision faster now on those replays. There was one on a double play, an inning ender that I know you were kind of looking in and the umpire was looking at you. Is there a little more pressure on you to make that decision quicker on a potential replay challenge?
Well, you have to throw your hand up quicker. Before you had like 10 seconds to even have to throw up your hand. Now you have to do it right away. We'll see how the umpires are handling it too, and then you only have 15 seconds. So, the pressure really isn't on me. It's the guys in the video room that have to come up with a decision that much quicker. Sometimes you don't even get to super slow-mo till around that 15-second mark. So I think what they're trying to do is take out, originally, replay was for the egregious play that's missed or a big play in the game. It got to the point where, you're looking at fractions of millimeters where you're making calls on. And I don't think that was in the spirit of it originally. So I think they're trying to take away some of those and make it a little bit tougher. But, it seems like it's a different process every year as far as the timing goes, but it's the guys in the video room that is going to have a little tougher time.
And Ryan Christensen too. He needs to be ready when you tell it. Does he just stand by the phone with one hand on it, ready to go, just in case? Because you saw it last night. Matt Carpenter hits the glove and he looks to the dugout and he's like, I hit the glove, and the umpires go, no, I didn't see anything, and you guys had to get that thing moving.
Yeah, so you're right. He's not going to venture far from the phone. With the lack of time that you have to do it. So you just got to be on point all the time, and just a little different dynamic, which is there's a lot of those that we have to deal with this year.
Bob, we used to call the second game of the season, maybe we still do, Tony Gwynn opening day, because Tony said, he loved opening day, but the second day was his real opening day when, the fans, the pomp, it all goes away and it's just the diehards. Now, I don't think it's going to look like that anymore at Petco Park. I think day two is going to look a lot like day one.
It will, in
terms of the crowds and everything, but it is more of a rhythm. Nick Martinez, I'd imagine, going to get amped up. We know he always gets amped up getting out there as well, but it's not going to be that big of a change, I would think.
Yeah, you just, day two, you get into your routines, your daily routines and your preparation and getting ready. It gets thrown out of kilter a little bit at an opening day because you're out there for introductions earlier and everybody has a routine. So it's, one of the great things in baseball that guys insulate with their routines. And I think that's what Tony was probably talking about is, it starts on day two when, there's 161 left and, that's just the way you go about it. So, opening day, obviously everybody has nerves and you want to get off, you make a good impression, it's going to be a sold out place, which probably for us is going to be a lot, but Just a little disappointing we didn't do it, but we have to move on to today.
That Xander Bogaerts, Bob, certainly made quite an impression yesterday in his first game as a San Diego Padre. And really, I think like anybody you sign, people will say, well, I don't know why we needed him when we have him. And man, he just looks like a professional hitter up there, gives you a great AB. I mean, even in the pouring rain, he's shaking his helmet to get the rain off, out of his eyes, and up there ripping doubles last night. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I mean, terrific player. So, and it's always nice to get off to a good start right away in front of the home crowd, because, the new guys, they don't know as much about. And when you roll out there and get 3 hits right away, it certainly gives the fans an opportunity to see what his skill set looks like. And there's a lot to like about Xander Bogaerts. So I know he's excited about getting a chance to lead off tonight. He may be versatile where he gets in the lineup. Once we get Tatis back, we'll probably have a little bit more of a set lineup, right, left, but a little different tonight. And I know he's excited about getting a chance to lead off.
Last question for me. Yu Darvish, I heard he threw yesterday. Is he on track to make a start at the end of the rotation here? And anything new on Joe and his comeback here?
Yeah, Joe's going to throw in Arizona on Saturday. So that's kind of the start of his process. And you got up to about 80 pitches yesterday in 5 innings. So that was good that he got those ups and, puts him on target for his next, which would be game 6 is what we have forecast for him. We'll see how he's doing today when he gets there, but I'm glad that he got as many pitches as he did in. And, how Yu Darvish is. He likes to be out there as long as he can. So it was good to get him those type of reps.
Bob, well, we appreciate it. As always, Management Report is enjoyable. I'm sure we'll chat with you again soon. Good luck tonight, the rest of the series, and thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, Bob Melvin, manager of the Padres, on our Management Report on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We talked about the replay quickly there, and he said, it was originally those egregious calls, and they're trying to speed things up. The one that I always think of is the stolen base, the slide into second.
Hate it.
He looks safe live. Everyone thinks he's safe. And then after 10 seconds of looking at the absolute slowest motion replay, you see that for a fraction of a second, a finger came off the bag and was the tag on, and then all of a sudden you get the replay.
Terrible.
No one would have ever challenged that. No one would have ever given it a second thought 10 years ago. But now all of a sudden we're slowing down the game for a 4-minute replay challenge to see if a pinky came off the bag at the last. Just he's safe. You don't have time to go and look at those 17 times and then throw up your hand for a replay.
Well, they talk about the spirit of the rule a lot. It's a very common trope in sports media and sports talk radio and broadcasting. The spirit. Oh, that wasn't in the spirit of the rule. And I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. But where do you draw the line? You can slide past the base. You can slide past the base, reach back, barely miss it. Are you safe? Because you were really close. It just, if you call it 100% of the time, I guess that's all any fan can root for, is if you're accurate, even if it's ticky-tacky 100% of the time. Because if you start again giving them more discretion, that's not going to be a good thing. Well, this violates the spirit of the rule.
Rules are rules.
Rules are
for
rules.
a reason.
Yeah.
It's
just tough.
It's hard to say which rules aren't totally rules.
It's a bummer when it happens to your guy. When the foot slides off. Oh, I got you real quick. It's tough.
I hated the play at the plate that got reviewed.
Yeah.
It sounded like Don and Mud were almost like oh yeah, he was blocking, and I'm like, he is clearly, to me, in fair territory.
Yes, waiting for the
in front of the plate, like shifted to the side a little bit. I'm like, what more can he do?
It's possible for the catchers.
But the other thing is, I thought he beat the tag. I thought he was in
for a second,
the
and then the foot was up. It's worth a challenge if you're the Rockies for sure. All right, last thing of the week, we're going to check traffic, come back with the flubs, and say goodbye here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Not too bad of a wrap-up for our morning drive, but they are still clearing this accident on the northbound 15 at Miramar Way. It's over to the right shoulder, and do keep in mind westbound lanes of the 78 remain closed between College and El Camino Real for that roadwork project. I'm Kelly Tannick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Sit down at a California-style blackjack table, or play some Texas
What
Hold'em
is a
poker.
table?
Book a solar battery installation.
Oh.
Book a solar
What is
battery
the installation? Tatis has paid the big bucks to be our shard. Damn it. I have done it again.
I haven't heard much. The organization, Bob Melvin.
Who is Bob Meller?
Because Penske Lincoln's Dong Days of Summer sales event is on right now with
Benny and Call, a public safety power shutoff.
the meteorologist at STNG. I'm in trouble too.
The ump show is starting in 4 minutes.
Stu
We gotta go. Let's go, babe.
Sherwater's behind the dish.
Come on.
The dish. And of course, San Diego State taking on number 14 Yuha on Yuha. Ring it.
All right, we'll play this audio for you.
Guys.
Gnarly.
It's gnarly.
Out of St. Louis, California. First hour of Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us on Wednesday morning.
Glad to have you with me.
Wherever we are. And both times, Austin Nolan drove in the one run.
Who is Austin Nolan?
Browns, Bengals, Ravens, 3-2-2 teams
Who
in
are
that
the
division.
Ravens?
Ballast Point Beer, the official craft beer of the San Diego Padres, at Ballast Point in Little India.
He's not 35.
But he will
pitching
be before the contract is done.
What is a contract?
Holiday season is almost here.
30 days, half September.
And that is do this for a Wednesday.
Don't.
Ben and Woods, back after a check of traffic on 97.3 Fan. He's got the fifth most wins coaching time, all-time coaching. Fifth most, yes. February 12th, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. State Farm Stadium.
That's not what I heard.
That's not what I heard either.
Our first sound from Padres Spring Training 2013. I think when a veteran pitcher is having success with those numbers, 6-year history of Major League Rugby. I'll give you
Rugby?
Sam San Diego's number one sports station, 93 The Fan.
We're just talking about Landon Jonovan.
Who is Landon
God.
Jonovan?
All right.
Back after a check of traffic here on 91.37 The Fan. Almost the entire 97.3 The Crew is coming out.
And then, of course, Joe Darvish and the kettlebell on the toe.
That's all, folks.
Joe Darvish. We just got an update from Bob Melvin on you, Darvish, and Joe Musgrove.
Musgrove.
Did not mention Joe Darvish
Nick
at all.
Snell. Seth Martinez. I also said earlier
Blake Lugo
that Nick brings a lot of Martinez.
He did
when he pitches, so that's fun.
All the Martinez.
Had a rough morning, but we made it almost.
Not really.
Not quite
we didn't
there.
make it.
3 minutes.
We didn't make it. This was a long week. I'm going to say
It was
a great week.
Great week. Fun
Tier
week.
1 stepped up in a huge way.
They always do.
This week, as they always do. You were amazing yesterday.
Yeah, I was. Thank you. You were pretty good yourself.
You being the Tier 1s out there.
You guys were great.
Were amazing this week. It was fantastic. And next week, hopefully even more. On Monday, we'll be talking about the Final Four. Hopefully an Aztec win and going to a championship game that night against either UConn or Miami. We'll still have the Padres at home. They'll wrap up their series against the Rockies on Sunday, and then 2 games against the Arizona Diamondbacks before heading out on a road trip for the first time. And we'll be gearing up for the second Ben and Woods Open. We'll be broadcasting live on Thursday morning. A little bit of a shorter show, so we can get out with a lot of the golfers on Thursday morning, live from Rancho Bernardo Inn, and then all day long, a massive, massive celebration for the Tier 1s out at the Ben and Woods Open.
I cannot wait. I am giddy. I have got my outfit all ready. I'm just elated. What is your outfit going to be?
I have not even given a little bit of thought as to what I am wearing to the Ben and Woods Open.
Okay. Paulie and
you
I
do
have.
a lot more outfit preparation than I do.
Yeah, that's true.
When I think about my outfit, I am out of the shower. I am walking toward the closet, and then I think, what am I going to wear now at this very moment?
I'm going to guess shorts,
flip-flops,
and a polo.
Polo. No, not for golf, but yes. Otherwise, that's what I wear most of the time. Or TV. I'll put on pants and a shirt, and I'll figure out what matches with what. Every single day, I try to figure out, does this match with this? And I'm right about 60% of the time.
Yeah, that's true. You had quite an outfit going yesterday.
You like that one?
I did. There's brown pants, yellow shirt, and his City Connect shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had my brown kind of suede jacket on.
They're very Eric Grupner of you.
Very Eric Krupner of you.
Someone,
you guys could be
someone walked by
brothers.
me and goes,
Group.
Ben, is that Swain that you have on? Go, yes, it is.
Why are your glasses darkening right
yes,
now?
it is because the sun is out, and that's what glasses should do.
Were those
when
glasses
the sun
a
comes out.
nightmare yesterday when it would go bright, dark, bright, dark?
No,
were they
were-
just all day?
They automatically were doing what they should be doing all day long. That's why you wear the transitions lenses.
You are the GOAT. The GOAT. See you guys at the Seals game tonight. If you're not going to the Padres
Oh,
game,
yeah.
get your tickets at sealslax.com.
You can clinch a playoff spot tonight.
Come watch me die, because that's probably going to happen.
All right, 5:40 pregame, Sammy, and then 6:40 first pitch tonight. That'll do it for us, for Hannah Nancaro, for executive producer Paul Reindl, and Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday morning here on 97.3 The Fan. Thank you so much.